Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where this week we're going to pour one out for those that never happened, or never was, or might happen. You'll see what I'm talking about. And some new things that we're playing, but it's going to be all about games today. I'm, of course, your host, Mr. K. Asante, TKO Asante on your PlayStations, your Xboxes, all the places we communicate. And I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the one who's prepping for the next big Kickstarter, Mr. Everborn Saga. What's going on, sir?
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm all right. How's my? Oh, I am all over the place.
I can
but
imagine.
no, I'm super busy. Just getting ready for the campaign, which is launching tomorrow. By the way, we are launching tomorrow. I'm gonna go once we get some more people in here. I'm gonna do a whole tirade on
Yes,
what we're offering, what's gonna go down, what's next. It's kind of a big deal. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exciting
Good morning.
time.
Good morning. Morning to everybody in the chat. We see y'all in here. The numbers are growing as they do. We appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for being here so much. Adidas 20 already here. Member for 4 months. He says, "Let's go, sir." It's been a while. It's good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. It's been a while since it's just been me and you. You know, back at this, the normal kind of the dynamic duo cadence, if you will. I appreciate you being here, even in between your busy schedule, sir. So no, I'm happy that we are here. We're gonna get into it today. I'm putting it out there right now. Concise show, because there's some family things going on within my situation. You know, some things that I need to go take care of. Wifey's not feeling well, so I'm gonna be daddy daycare for the rest of the day. So concise show, 2.5, 3 max, and then we out of here. But we're gonna get into it. But before we do, as you say, folks are already jumping in. It's already starting. How about you tell the people what you've been working on, sir? Why don't you share your screen and tell the fine folks what they can do? Give them that call to action. We'll do one at the top and one at the bottom.
All right. Hey, yo. No, give me a second. Talk a little bit about what you're doing. I want to talk to the people and look them in the eye. So I'm trying to get my camera ready.
Oh, okay. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Cool.
Keep going.
Well,
let me get this.
Sure. No worries. Well, I will say thanks to all the people that are here. You can catch us live. I know there are folks that are watching us live right now on the X channels, whether it be my X channel or Mr. Everborn's X channel, or even on youtube.com/The Gaming Circle. One thing you didn't know, or maybe you weren't aware of, is the fact that you can also catch us live on thegamingcircle.com, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I'm not gonna hit the button because, well, you know what? Hell, I'm gonna hit that damn button. There we are. We are right now on thegamingcircle.com. If you don't know where to find us, you can always find us there. In addition to all the previous episodes that we do, and also you hit the blog section, and you will find a lot of very interesting things that we have been talking about, both myself, Mr. Everborn Saga, and the community at large. You have some great writers that are out there lending their voices to the Gaming Circle. The recent article from the great Mr. Infinite Umbra, I see you in the chat there, good sir. Great article. And actually, I'm going to talk about that game this morning as well. Obviously, we did a preview of Expedition 33. We did a preview of WarHammer, which I will also be talking about today. So yeah, man, it's out there. We're doing our thing. We appreciate y'all going on this journey with us and checking out the content that we're putting out there. Because of you guys, we're having access to a lot more. We're able to talk to developers. We're getting codes to be able to preview and review games as the games are coming hot and heavy. So we appreciate it. We're definitely so humbled by everybody's patronage and everybody's support that got us here. And of course, Mr. Everborn Svelte Saga, what's going on, brother? Now, are you using the mic, or are you using the? Are you using
no. I'm using.
Using the proper. There you go. Yes,
proper mic.
Yes.
This is just on because I'm actually in the middle of recording the pitch video for the Kickstarter. So we have all our animations ready, but like as I said, I like to talk to the people. By the way, I just want to show this. Shout out to you for pointing this out. Listen, if you are a content creator, you need to get one of these things. This is called the Hollyland Lark L2, right? Now, you told me about this yesterday morning, right?
It's amazing, right?
And then I ordered it on Amazon, and by 6 p.m. Yesterday, it was delivered to my home.
But that's because y'all are in New York. You know what I mean? Y'all are in New York, so you get everything immediately.
You ever get something delivered from Amazon so quickly you get scared? Like how they think
they were in the back room. They were in the back room going, "Is he about to order it? Okay, yeah, put that in there."
Right, like it's nuts. So this is the combo pack. I think it was like $139 or something like that. So it's a lavalier mic, and what it does, it comes with 2 of these things. This is a microphone. So if you're doing an interview,
it's the size of a dime, sir.
Right,
size of a dime,
and it uses a magnet that basically allows you to attach it to someone's shirt, and it comes with 2 of them so that you can do an interview and have good audio. We'll be using this at Comic-Con, which we will be at, which we're going to talk about that in a second. And it has more traditional stuff if you want to connect it to like a DLSR, but it's really good. The audio quality is great, and and then you connect it to your phone with these things. Right?
Yeah.
Plug this in your
iPhone,
phone,
Android, doesn't matter. It's fantastic.
Just works. So so I got this thing yesterday. There's some studio lights and stuff that you see behind me because I was setting up the stage back there. And then I got this gimbal thing, which I don't know if I need because we're doing like static shots.
Okay.
This is a little bit of how the sausage is made, people. So if this is boring you, I apologize. But if they're a content creator,
what he hasn't told you is he calls me up and goes, "I need A, B, and C." I'm like, "All right, here's the laundry list." He goes, five hours later, "Okay, I bought all the stuff." What do I do?
That's usually how it works.
It's good. It's good.
So anyway, that's why the background is a little bit different. That's what we're setting up. By the way,
it's all good.
See this shirt? Look at this. Look at this.
See, that's good. That's good. I like that. I like the fact that it's not necessarily just in the middle. Like I hate when the shirts are just that small little. You know, this is all over the place. This is like a whole situation. I like that. You got to tell me how you.
Let me show you
got that together.
This is called all AOP. That stands for all over print.
All over print. Okay. All
right. Wait right there.
Yeah. Go ahead. And yes, I see y'all in the chat. We gonna talk about Astrobot, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, we are going to talk about Astrobot, as well as Space Marine 2 and Wukong and a few other things. We talking about it. Oh, that's nice.
Stands out there.
All the way at the bottom. Yeah.
Right.
I like it. And I like the quality of shirt too. It's not a basic cotton. I like the quality of shirt. I think you doing well right now. I might need to talk to you about potentially taking our merch game to the next level.
That is on the way, sir. So there's a lot going on. So let me talk to the people about the campaign that is going to launch tomorrow. All right. So let's bring this guy forward. All right. So this is the campaign. This is not live yet. It's going live tomorrow, but you guys are seeing it first. So it's Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. We've been working on this book. Our last release was like 3 years ago. But
move your cam a little bit this way. No one can see you. Move yourself a little bit. There you go. That's it. That's right.
All right. So this is the campaign page, and here is the cover.
That's a real good cover, bro. He was hyping it up on the streets. I'm like, he's hyping up the cover. What's the cover? That's a damn good cover, sir. That's a good cover.
This is done by Philip Johnson, digital artist. So you can check him out. Follow him on like all the socials. It's his name's End of Days on Mars. He does all the cover work and all the posters and wall art that we do. So he created this cover for us. And he's also created, listen, I'm only telling this to GCP crowd. Nobody knows this yet. I haven't, you can look on my socials. I haven't said this to anybody. We are creating alternate covers that we're going to unveil if we get to, can you guys still see me? Can you still
No,
hear me?
your cam just went off, but we can still see you. I mean, hear you.
Cool. Yeah, the Sony ZV-E10 is a little
Well, the Sony ZV-E10 also needs a power source, which you still haven't gotten yet.
USB-C should be enough power, but that's none of my business.
Nah,
Anyway,
that's neither here nor there. Continue.
all right.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's doing all our covers. End of Days on Mars is where you want to follow him. And now you guys have seen the Everborn animation already. I don't need to show that to you again. But I want to show you guys something. You see this?
Yeah. Chapter
you guys
2.
Remember Peter Moore?
Of course.
What does Peter Moore do? I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm gonna save that for later. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right. So here are a few pages from the book.
The animation is definitely upgraded since the last book. You can definitely tell. There's a lot more fire, literally.
Well,
a lot more heat to it.
Fire. I pay attention to this page. Now, it's something that we do because we make all of this stuff for you guys. These two characters, the in chapter 2, the wolf colony is attacked by some rogue seraphs. These are the seraphs that are attacking the wolf colony.
And who do they happen to be IRL?
So these are actually backers of the first campaign. So we've made them into characters, and it's not like just a walk-on role. Like, they're the villains for this chapter. We gave them some very cool powers. We made them look cool, unlike certain games.
Stop it. We're going to get there. Calm down.
We'll get there.
I knew where he was going with that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, we really put everything we had in this, and this is sort of the culmination of everything we've been trying to do. And so I'm just going to show you guys a video, and then we can get back to the game talk.
Yeah, man.
What I know you guys came here for.
Even the animation game is leveled up. Good job, sir. That's nice. I like that. That's nice.
All right. Cool. So we are launching tomorrow, and I'm really hoping, like, help us out, support this campaign. And the best thing about all of this is not really a campaign to get the book over the line and get it created. The book is already done. The book's paid for. We're doing this campaign to sort of take the Everborn IP to the next level. We see this thing in Hollywood, right? We see an anime, we see a movie, and it starts here. So we launch the campaign tomorrow. We're hoping that, like, everybody in the community supports it. We're hoping that if you just like fantasy, if you like manga, if you like all that stuff, let's just say you like cool looking characters. How about that? Check out the campaign, and we got a lot of other things going on. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, because I kind of really want to get to the video game talk, but I wanted to take a moment to show this to everybody again and I really hope everybody shows up. The first 2 campaigns were funded in the first 24 hours, and they were chosen by Kickstarter projects we love. And so we're hoping we could go 3 for 3, get the 3-peat here. So please keep your eye out tomorrow. If you signed up, if you haven't signed up, you can just go to everbornsaga.com right now. Click the link at the top.
The links are all in the chat right now.
Yeah, or you can go right now to the chat.
There you go.
Click on that. You're going to get notified the moment we go live. And the last thing I'll say before we move on is don't be afraid to support the Kickstarter tomorrow, because you don't get charged unless the project is funded, and they won't charge you until the end date of the campaign, which is 30 days. So you won't get charged for a month, but you can back it tomorrow. That's just how Kickstarter works. So yeah, please support us tomorrow. We're looking for you guys' help to take this thing to the next level, because I think we can go all the way. So yeah, let's get going. Let's get these gaming topics.
The man is out here doing his thing. Let's support him. Right? As well, as good as this goes, there are games in our future within the Everborn Saga universe. It's all about that, right? And I want to see this thing get
let me say one other thing. Here's our roadmap, right? Tomorrow we launch Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. That is going to run for 30 days, and it's going to lead us right into New York Comic Con, which we will be for the first time on the main floor in New York Comic Con.
Very cool.
If you are in the tri-state area and you plan on going to New York Comic Con, you can come and pick up your book in person. And that's why it was so important for us to not launch this campaign until the book was done, because the moment the campaign is done, we start shipping. Like, I just got off the phone with the printer right now that's like, where's those final files? So that's the thing. You can come and pick your book up in person, or we ship it immediately at the end of the campaign. So from there, we're doing a relaunch of the Everborn Saga website, which is going to have a bunch of new merch, new items. We've got phone covers. We've got 500-piece puzzles, book bags, all the kind of merch that you see here. So we're going to do a big push towards the store. And early next year, we are going to port the Windows Phone Ariel's World game that we released back in 2015 that started all this. We're going to port it to iOS and Android. And that is going to lead us into the major launch of the Ariel's Adventure game, which you guys have all seen before, that will be on Steam and Xbox and PlayStation and all that. So big things coming. This is the start of a whole new chapter for everything we're doing with Everborn.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. We appreciate the hustle. We appreciate you keeping it moving, giving us good content.
Yeah, Big Bad Mo. It launches tomorrow. We're going to launch it on the Iron Lords podcast.
There you go. And that's another tip. He will be on the Iron Lords podcast tomorrow. Fantastic. Yes, sir. That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Looking forward to it. And this shouldn't be a good luck. The community got your back. This will get absolutely funded. I have no doubt of that. So yeah, man, exciting times. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. So it's finally good that we're here. But okay.
I wish you that it will be worth the wait when you see what we did here. This is the largest individual chapter we've ever released.
Okay. All right. I look forward to it.
Over 72 pages.
I restarted the first one. I need to get through it before the end so I can be primed for the next chapter. Restarted it. I read the first one with my kids, and they, you know how kids read, hodgepodge. I got to get back through it again by myself to make sure that I'm ready for the next chapter. But no, it's awesome. I hope a lot of folks, you guys partake in this, because we have to support the brother, and the story is great. I love the animation. You've done really, really good work with the art and the story and everything else. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing become funded and super successful. I appreciate it, man. So okay, let's get back to what we're here for. But we'll hear from you a little later. We'll talk a bit more about that. As I'm sure you are a busy man, let me ask, but I think I already know the answer to this. How many games have you played this week, sir?
Not one. I not unfortunately, but we've been doing so much to get ready for the campaign. By the way, did you probably don't know this, but we need to be advertising this show on TikTok. Their advertising tools are nuts.
This is where my gray beardness comes around. I have successfully avoided TikTok for the longest time.
I'm not telling you to like be on TikTok.
No.
Like,
I just don't want the app on my phone. I don't want
hear
the
you,
app on my phone.
but I created an account for the Everborn Saga, not really for me. So it's like for the business or whatever. And when you look at the level of engagement that you get just for like video ads, it's nuts. And you can tie it to a Shopify store and they'll automatically create ads, throw some music on the back of it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as a business, you should
it's
be
necessary.
Looking at it,
I get that.
Right?
I get that.
If
no,
you have
right,
an online business and you're not using TikTok, you're selling yourself short. I'm not telling you to be on there scrolling all day.
Of course, the infinite number brings some very, very interesting talking points.
See, that's not what I'm talking about. I don't know nothing about that. I'm just talking about business and monetary gain. That's all I'm talking about. Use the tools to your advantage.
He's using the tool to some advantage. I'm just saying. But okay. So I know you probably haven't been playing a lot of games, but let's start with a game that I know you've played. And I got into it initially. It took me some doing to really click into it. But of course, we're talking about games we've been playing, and no one can talk about games these days without talking about the big game, the one that everyone's talking about, the one that it's all the conversation for a while anyway was all about, and that is Black Myth Wukong. I know you've been playing Black Myth Wukong. I know you've played Black Myth Wukong to a certain extent, sir. How far did you get before you had to put it down?
I'm still on chapter 1. So I've beaten the White Wolf, and I've gone to the next area, and I'm in like the jungle area, and I'm fighting that guy that blows the poison at you.
Yep.
So you know those like skeleton reptile people that like so when you get through that area, and then there's this guy who says give his remains to his master if you beat him, and then he starts that is where I sort of left it at. Really loved it, and it runs surprisingly well on the handheld, the ROG Ally X.
Indeed it does. Yeah, and we have an ally story today. We have an ally adjacent story today. So yes, we'll talk about that.
Very exciting about that. And so there is that. I played a little bit back and forth. I only have like maybe 2-3 hours in the game. I shouldn't even played it that it shouldn't have taken me that long to get where I got, but I was having trouble with that big head boss, so I just left him so I could get more powerful, and then I'll go back Elden Ring style and go deal with him. But another one that I pre-ordered that I'm very excited about is something you're going to tell me about is Space Marine 2, but I'll leave that one for you.
We're going to get there.
Now, another game that I bought and installed on the ROG Ally is Visions of Mana.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I'm very excited about that one. And
so what you're saying is you want to play for 18 hours on one charge, is what you're saying. I get that. Okay.
Pretty much.
Because that game runs like, a dream on handheld, especially a handheld with a big battery. So yeah, there you go.
Now, this is the thing. I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, right?
Okay.
Because of all of that, I am going to wait to play Astrobot until it comes to the PC. Now I'm not saying that as a hater. I'm just saying there are so many games right now. I've pre-ordered Space Marine, which you tried to give to me, but I unfortunately already pre-ordered it because I was too impatient to wait. So I told you to give that code to someone else. Like I said, Visions of Mana is already installed, waiting for me to play. And this game that's on screen, Black Myth Wukong, I'm at the beginning. So by the time I get through all of those, you're going to have the Black Ops campaign, because I don't care about the multiplayer. And then we're going to
Yeah.
roll into Shattered Space and Vessel of Hatred, because I do want to continue the campaign. I don't care about multiplayer in Diablo either, but I do want to see what happens next in Vessel of Hatred. And like we said, Shattered Space, and then Indiana Jones. So there's just no time for the... We'll see about that. We'll see if it does come.
I knew he was gonna do it.
But I'm just saying, there's actually, and I knew the game was going to score in the 90s. It looks amazing. It is exactly my type of game. But my gaming card is pretty much filled up for the rest of 2024.
I feel you.
So,
okay. So let me just say I'm a little further along than you are in Black Myth. I was actually looking at the thing. I've been playing for 7.7 hours right now, and I am it took me a while to really grok and connect with this game, because I don't like the constant dodging. I think I've said this before, right? When we were on the previous show, you weren't on. I was talking about how I like Phantom Blade Zero more than this, right? And at the time, I'd played only a limited amount in both Phantom Blade Zero and this, and now I've played this more. I've gotten to a point where I understand it a fair bit more, and I understand the systems a fair bit more, but I don't like that you're always at a disadvantage in these games until you get yourself there, right? I want to be capable from jump. So if you want to bring me badass bosses, I want my protagonist to be equally badass, in order so that if and when I fail, it's solely because of my inability, rather than the world or whatever.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because it sounds to me like you're asking for a journalist mode, because you are a journalist.
No, absolutely not. You can make this world as difficult as possible. I'm not saying the difficulty level needs to go down. I'm saying, like, these guys, here's my quick example. These guys are dashing, they have all these skills, they have all these abilities, and of course this is chapter 1, and I will grow in ability, absolutely. But right now, all I can do is dodge. And I recently got another stance, so I can use my other stance. But the game becomes a matter of stick and move, dodge, stick and move, like that's the whole thing, right? And you'll see what I did. I even beat that big head dude that you ran away from. I got it like that. I'm at the point now where I get it, right? But still, and I wouldn't say this, I would not have said this until I had played Phantom Blade Zero, where in that game, and maybe it's an unfair comparison because that game is more not aping, but more inspired by games like Ninja Gaiden than your Soulsborne, because it's got Soulsborne energy as well. It's got the certain tropes, it's got the flasks, and it's got a few other things, right? It's speaking that same language relatively, but your protagonist is super capable from jump, and you weren't there when I said this last time. That's why I'm like, I like that better than this, because this you'll eventually get capable, right? And they showed you can get capable, because the first thing you do is fight this huge boss battle in the sky when the game starts. So it shows you that you do have capabilities and you'll get there. But in the meat of the game that you're playing, you're always on the back foot. It's always about finding a way beyond your limitations to beat this really difficult boss. And I get that, and that's what these games tend to be about. I just wish I have found that I gravitate more towards games that make you as capable as the enemies you're fighting, and as such, when you fail, you can put it squarely on yourself that you didn't block in time, or you didn't parry in time.
But this is a kung fu game, right?
So is Phantom Blade Zero, but that plays totally different.
Wait a minute. If you've ever watched any kung fu movie, like the student never outshines the master on day one, right?
Sure.
It's about the journey, right? And it seems like you don't want to pay your dues.
No, but that's not what this is about. Again, and I can show you footage of Phantom Blade Zero.
Phantom Blade Zero is doing something different where they just make you a master out the gate. Part of the journey is not being good enough at first and putting in the work to get to where
sure.
you need to be.
So again, like I said, maybe I'm making an unfair comparison to Phantom Blade Zero because it is more action game heavy than it is
more casual.
like Soulsborne. No, it's definitely not casual. Like it is one of the hardest games I have played. It really is. The only difference is when you hit as hard as they do.
Audio's gone. Oh, maybe my audio's gone.
I can hear you. Microphone check. Can you guys hear us? If you can, please acknowledge. Because I can hear you fine. Now, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
I'm hoping we're good. Yeah.
Blame Apple.
That was Apple.
Blame Apple, Tim Apple.
Tim Apple. I call him the rotten apple. Anyway, no. And again, like I'm saying, had I just played Wukong and that was it, I'd be playing Wukong and I have no issues. And as you see, I've been playing through it, right? And if we skip through my footage a bit here, I will show you. I have actually gone past this guy and I went after the big head dude, right? And I got him too ultimately. It's all good. I have understood its systems to the point where I can continue playing it. My problem is because I played Phantom Blade Zero, I kind of want more now. Not just this. I want to be capable. I hate that I can't block. I hate that I can't stand toe to toe with my adversaries, right? Which as in that game, you can stand toe to toe with your adversaries. Now, when you stand toe to toe with your adversaries, you better make sure you got the zig for the zag. Otherwise, you dust, right? And they can kill you in one shot. But at least you can stand toe to toe with them, right? And maybe, and of course, I haven't finished this game, so maybe at the end you will then be able to stand toe to toe with your adversaries there. I just wish that was something that was more capable and you had that ability to do from jump rather than working towards it. So again, unfair comparison. Maybe I'm comparing an action game to this kind of game, which is a little different. I hear that, right? I just wish I could stand more toe to toe with people instead of all of the dodging constantly. That's where I am with it. But no doubt, no shade. I am enjoying the game. As you see, I'm still playing through it. I put a lot of emphasis on defense and other things. So I need to like put more emphasis on stamina. I haven't done that. So like I do a lot of running around, finding my spot, and then going to town. But when I go to town, I'm able to bring them down as far as their life bar relatively quickly. So I've been able to use that method to really get pretty far in the game. Well, not pretty far. I'm still on the first chapter, but these guys are no longer as adversarial or as scary to me as they used to be when I first started playing it. So there's that. But okay.
All right. Technical question.
Yes, sir.
For the Sony camera, how do you charge it while you're streaming? Because the PC isn't doing that.
Sure. Okay. So what I used to do is I used to plug in two cables. One was the cable so I'm using a capture card, even though you don't have to. I'm using a capture card. So what I'm doing, because if you don't use a capture card and you just use a USB-C port, all you're getting is 720p image, and you can get up to 1080p or 4K on this thing. So what I'm doing is I'm plugging in an HDMI, a mini HDMI to standard HDMI, and that goes into a capture card. And then the USB-C plug I'm using to plug into a wall for power. Even that doesn't do it right. What the ultimate solution that you should be looking for is there's a dummy battery you can buy, and then it plugs into a power outlet, and that charges it indefinitely, and you can just use it as is.
Okay,
right?
Where can you send me the link for that?
I'll send you that stuff.
You should have sent it to me a couple of weeks ago when we first.
I have actually already sent it to you. I actually sent this to you. I actually did send this to you, but you don't remember. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know that's true, but okay.
It was sent to you, but okay, I will send it to you again. No worries. But
so
okay,
I'm actually charging the camera right now, and I can't come back on camera until it charges. Until the reason for that, yes. This is another funny thing. I initially was recording the Kickstarter pitch video with the big mirrorless camera, which you would think would be better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It is better if you are. But you have to
have your lighting. Yes, you have to have your lighting on
not
point.
A professional.
There you go. That's right.
And so I ended up going with the iPhone to record it. You guys are going to see what it ultimately sounds like and looks like. But so this is just for streaming, and then the iPhone I'm going to record the big video with.
Okay.
We
By the way,
tech talk. By the way,
we should we should do some tech talk. Yes, we should do some tech talk. By the way, I just want to show you this footage because everybody always clowns at how I always show bad footage and how my footage isn't good. You ain't beat this dude. I beat him. So how about them apples there, son? Huh? How about them apples?
Well, in my defense, you weren't trying to get ready for a Kickstarter. If I had time and opportunity, I would have took him out. And don't worry, he's going down. I didn't forget about him.
Sure he is. We'll see when he does. In my house, he's already been done. He's been done. See, whenever my footage is bad, we have to talk about it. But when it's good, we just move along, right?
Well, okay, hold on a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is Sycamore or in the chat?
Here we go.
Because
he's sick. Sick is in here.
Is this actually good gameplay? For
Leave somebody else to judge.
Away.
Sure. Like I said, this is the problem. It's a lot of ducking and dodging, but it still gets the job accomplished.
Look at this. You just hitting air.
No, I'm moving, finding my moment.
Gameplay.
You don't know if it's good gameplay? How about that? Is that good gameplay for you? How about that? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's move along, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll let Sick be the judge of this.
Sure. Let someone else be the judge.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because you ain't beat him, so let somebody else be the judge. Understood.
That's why
moving quickly along.
I shouldn't judge it because I didn't beat it.
That's right.
I think that makes sense.
Let's talk about the game that you have not played, but you have put on your pre-order list here. Let's talk about that real quick. So, let me share with you guys an Elseworld story. Okay, this is an Elseworld story. Imagine we live in a world where big evil corporation, Microsoft or whoever. Well, yes, in this case, Microsoft. Big evil corporation, Microsoft, right? They looked at their numbers. It didn't work right for them. So unfortunately, we have to cut you. You haven't released a game very soon. You haven't released a game anytime recently. We don't appreciate your output. We need ROI, so we got to cut you. And what company am I talking about? I'm talking about the Coalition. People are like, what? No, Elseworld story. Calm down, right? The Coalition. And then the Coalition goes, you know what? Screw that crap. Y'all ain't gonna stop us. And then the Foundation is formed. And the first thing they do is, we need to come out with our vision. We're no longer allowed to use the Gears of War IP. So what are we gonna do? That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this game. And of course, I am talking about WarHammer 40K Space Marine 2. It's on pre-order. I think what is it, September? When does it release for the mass audience? I forget. Let me look that up while we talk.
September 9th. So that should
September
be
9th.
Monday.
September 9th. Okay. So that is so much of the energy I got when playing this game. And man, oh man, do I love this game. I love this game. I will tell you, the one thing that I think is a detriment to this game is when it was released, because it's among the sea of other games, and as such, maybe it won't get the respect it deserves. But yes,
number one on Steam right now,
as it well deserves to be. I will first off and say shout out to Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment. They provided a code for this. We're gonna be doing a review period for. We're gonna review it. We have members of the team doing their reviews of it as well. Right, we're gonna this weekend. Actually, myself and a few folks are planning on doing multiplayer just to test out the not the multiplayer, the co-op aspects of it. But I gotta say, like, you and I, Everborn, have been going back and forth about, they should update the formula. Gears is long in the tooth. I don't agree with that. I know you've been saying that in order for it to move to the next level, they need to do that. I honestly believe, and you're gonna notice a theme here when we get to the other game we're talking about as well. I honestly believe they took that formula and they went, how can we not upgrade, but take it to the next level, right? It's been a while. I'm like, the first thing I thought, I'm so happy that E-Day is a thing that we want to talk about, right? The E-Day is coming up soon, because if E-Day wasn't a part of the equation, if E-Day wasn't being talked about, or excitement for it wasn't around, people would start looking at the Coalition with a side eye like, hey, what y'all gonna do? Because man, oh man, have they taken the Gears formula the big lumbering no neck guys, right, talking about their feelings all day, and they've taken it to the nth degree. I love what they've done in the combat. Like, the combat is so good, so well executed, right? It feels very Gears-like. There's no roadie runs, but it feels very Gears-like in its execution, right? Very bloody, very gory, very lumbering guys running around, right? The shooting mechanics are really, really, really good. What's interesting is it looks like, even though this is a melee heavy game, it looks like they've spent a lot of time differentiating what weapons are effective against what. If you have the wrong weapon for the game or for the current task, you're gonna be at it for a while, right? And you'll notice that right off the jump. And you'll also notice that at the end of the day, the weapon that you need will be around if you really look for it. And Alon, I know you're in the chat. He and I were Lucius. We were talking about it a little bit. I was playing a certain level, and I didn't have the right weapon for the game, and it was just becoming a pain in my butt. Right. As soon as I found the right weapon for the job, it was just that quick. Right. They have been very specific about, hey, you need the right weapon for the right move. And no worries, there'll be no spoilers. This what you're seeing here is literally right from the beginning.
Yeah,
of the game.
I can't spoil it because I haven't played it.
Yeah. Well, and this game is not easy to spoil. It's not easy to spoil because, like, the lore is deep, the story is very, very in depth, right? What I will say is, and another byproduct of you getting this right from the beginning of the game is, it took me some time to really grok the systems, because I'm very it speaks such Gears energy that you start thinking you're playing Gears, and you're not playing Gears. There's a lot more to the combat here than Gears. So at some point, all the various systems on display that you have to understand because you need them. This is not a choice. If you have the wrong tools, like I said, if you have the wrong tools for the job, you're getting smoked. So you need to be able to deploy the various abilities right from jump in order to be successful, or you're dead over and over and over and over and over again. So at the beginning, I was kind of getting a little overwhelmed by all the systems, right? I really was. I was getting, oh, do I need to do this? Because there's a block. I mean, well, there's a parry system. It also functions as a block, right? There's a dodge system. There's a very heavy emphasis on melee. And then you have your handgun and or your assault rifle. And later games, you have sniper rifles and other things, you know, and your melee also has different weapons that you can bring to bear on that as well, right? The bigger the weapon, the more lumbering, but the harder it hits, and the more it takes away from your enemy. So it takes some getting used to. So I would show you late stage, and of course you also have grenades, which also have a different interesting aspects to it. I would show you late stage gameplay, but I want you to get there on your own. But when I got there, oh my God, I was a machine of death. But in the beginning, you're just like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I grab this? Do I grab that? The shooting should work, but somehow they're swarming me. There's too many of them. Then I switched to melee, but you need to, like, sometimes you miss the forest for the trees when there's just so many of them, right? The key is to be very pointed and focused and make the most impact. Because at any moment, if you look on the screen here, at any moment, there are thousands of enemies on screen, like thousands. And sometimes
how does it run?
I mean, to be fair, I'm running it on a big machine, on a monster machine, but it brings up an interesting thing. And this is not Focus's or this is not Focus or Saber's issue, because they gave us code before the day one patch, right? They gave us code before that. It came with a lot of in the email we received, it came with a lot of, well, these are the known issues. Don't worry, all these things will get fixed with the day one patch. I use dual monitors, right? One of my monitors is ultra wide. One of my monitors is normal. It doesn't like ultra wide screens, and it automatically like goes to the ultra wide when it's connected. So I turned off the ultra wide. That wasn't enough. I had to literally unplug my ultra wide in order for it to just stay on the top screen normal. It crashed my PC, like crashed it to blue screen twice, because I had not unplugged the cable. Okay, these are all the PC issues, clearly, right? But they said day one patch takes care of all that, and by and large, long story short, it plays smooth, butter, great now. But when I first got the game, yeah, there was some issues. I reached out to the wonderful lady who was chatting with me about it, and like I even got into the game. I started playing the game, and although you go into the menus and there's an Xbox controller represented right there, my Xbox controller wasn't working like at all, right? I had to play with PC. Actually, Yes. If you look right now on the screen, I think I'm playing with PC right now. Am I not? I might be. This might be the PC version. No. This is the Xbox. The Xbox. You can do that. You can do that now. But in the beginning, I could not see. That's why you see the X and all that. I could not get my Elite controller to work. I just couldn't do it. Right. Come to find out, this game doesn't play nice. At least in its current iteration, doesn't play nice with Steam input. You have to literally turn Steam input off in order for it to see your Xbox controller. If you turn Steam input on, which is what it is by default with most Steam games, right? It downloaded from Steam, so why would you want to turn Steam input off? But when you leave Steam input on, it doesn't detect your controller at all. So I had to play with mouse and keyboard.
I've recently moved to just not using Steam input.
Yeah.
And I haven't really had any issues because most modern games like account for whether
most modern games have built in. Yes, have built it in.
Yep. So, what are you losing by turning off Steam input is my question.
So in modern games, not much, right? In modern games, not much. What you are losing is if you've ever really been a Steam user like that, you realize that Steam affords the ability, Steam input that is, affords the ability to do very interesting things with controllers, right? It affords the ability to do very interesting things with your controllers. Macros, you can put settings, you can do like the things that Xbox brought to their controllers with that app some time ago, where you can now do like alternate keys and all. You can do all that with Steam input. And actually what makes it even better is the reason why I think most people on the Xbox side don't use that is because you have to come up with all that on your own. Well, I need to do this, I need to do that. Steam input has a community full of people who have tested these controls out, created custom controls that like take maximum capability and maximum usability of your controller. So when you go in there and you check the community section, you'll see inputs that have been used by 3, 5, 10,000 people, and they all give it the thumbs up. So all you got to do is download it to your controller scheme, hit the button, it automatically remaps, and you're off to the races, right? So in certain instances, Steam input is really beneficial if you want to customize and get really interesting, and you don't want to do all the legwork of figuring it out yourself. The community has done most of that for you. But in modern games where you're just like, I just want to play my game, you have no issue. You can totally just use, you can turn Steam input off and it'll detect your controller. A quick example. I wanted to replay a bunch of the Dragon Age games to get ready for Vanguard, right? A lot of those Dragon Age games don't have controller input on PC. This was back in the day when they were like, controller people, console people are the ones that need controllers. PC people don't need controllers, so they did not put controller input onto the PC versions of those games. So if you want to relive the glory days and replay Dragon Age, you're gonna have to play it all on keyboard mouse. But if you have Steam input, many community members have like basically mimicked the Xbox and PlayStation version of those button schemes and really gotten it to work perfectly. So you just download it to it, boom, and now it looks like it's console capable, right? Obviously, the screen input will still tell you C versus E versus F or whatever, but the controls will map one-to-one as if you're playing on a console. So there's definitely benefits to it. But in a modern context, you can go without it and you'll be fine, basically is the point. So if you ever find yourself playing an older game that you're having problems with control schemes with, that's when Steam input becomes super useful. But yes, needless to say, to come back to this game is such an evolution of that Gears formula. And I really love it. I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm close to the end. I've beaten many a huge end state kind boss at this point. I'm close to the end of it, I suspect, and I'm looking forward to playing it in a co-op context. The only place where I would say that Gears still outshines them is in the storytelling. Not the storytelling specifically, but the lore versus story ratio, right? This game, if you're aware of the WarHammer franchise, right? This game assumes that you've done a lot of your homework to get to where we are here with Titus, and that's not a spoiler. The protagonist you're playing is Titus. I haven't done
any of my homework, if that's the case.
Exactly, right? It assumes you've done a lot of your homework. So although you won't be confused, no doubt you won't be confused. You'll understand what you're doing. You'll understand where you are, who you are. But some but some interesting nuggets of details that you would like to know, you don't get to really know because they assume you know it. It's very much the MCU approach. You saw that on film, right? You watched that on the TV show, right? So we don't have to explain why you are what a ultramarine is, why it is that you are a beast among men, and why there are humans in this world that are normal looking humans. And then there's you and your guys, right? They are almost the Spartans of this world, but you don't know why. And you don't know, it's assumed that all of that is built into the lore and you've already understood that, right? Which is a little bit unfortunate, right? I wish there was a story up till now video or something before you get into the game. So it kind of gives you some of that. One of those things where you're gonna have to
go to YouTube to learn the lore.
You might, and I have heard that there are some folks out there. I was talking to Mr. MJ Dark. There's a particular YouTube video, I think a 9-minute YouTube video that really lays it down and shows you the fundamentals of why you're here and why you care, and specifically Titus, the character you're playing, where he was and how he ended up where he is now. There's some very interesting story points that are happening with him that you will probably need to go elsewhere to find the nuggets of details there, right? And because of that, like, I think it falls short of that universal storytelling that Gears gave you, right? From day one, you were just there. You were just there with them. You understood who they were. As time progressed, you really kind of like honed in on who your favorites are, and it's a universal story, right? Even though you're not living where they live and you're not doing what they do, you can really connect with them right from jump. This, because it's got a lot of lore and they speak with the old English parlance and they're very navel-gazing in their pursuits, it sometimes loses you a little bit in the story, but it's still very likable. It's still very followable. You'll understand what you're doing. You'll understand why you're there. It is gory as all hell. Like, I'm happy we started this section later, because I think the content moderators at YouTube would have probably had a problem if I started this from jump. It is. I was saying this. I think I was saying this to Mr. John Wolf. There's like ketchup all over the place. Like everywhere you go, it's just like gunky. Like it's just squirting ketchup. Like it's just bloody, gory stuff. Yeah, I know. Pause. Bloody, gory stuff wherever you are. But I can't stop emphasizing that evolution of gameplay combat, the combat gameplay. It is so good. Like it is so good. And it's not just Gears they take it from. You can tell they have a little bit from Doom as well. You have the parry system. If you parry at the right moment, you then have the ability to do a takedown move, and then that like replenishes your health. Right? You have a dodge system. If you dodge at the very right moment, that then gives you the ability to hit the right trigger and you take out your weapon and you shoot, and you get extra damage right up because you hit that parry system, that dodge system correctly. They give you rewards for correct timing, right? Almost like active reload, right? They took that active reload concept and they applied it to other parts of the game, right? It is quite good. Meatheads running around, murking fools, but the story is interesting. The graphics are just on point. It's great. It's absolutely great. If you haven't put it on your radar, I suggest you do. I will report back probably next week and talk about how the co-op plays. I'll be trying that this weekend. But I am so down with this game. It is excellent. I love it. And I think more people should be playing it. And hopefully it does not get lost in the sauce when it comes to this onslaught of games that are happening right now. So there you go. There's that. And finally, the game y'all all want to talk about. And I know you in here still, Mr. John Wolf. This is for you. Real quick, just so you guys know, myself and John Wolf have a bet going. I say the game I'm about to talk about next will sell more in a 2-month period than Ratchet and Clank did at the same period. I don't know how much more, but I think the energy for this game will be better than Ratchet and Clank.
See, I am not. I was rocking with John Wolf for the Sonic bet because I had to.
He ain't learned his lesson. You learned your lesson, haven't you?
But like, we do understand that the PlayStation only had so many units out when Ratchet and Clank came out. So like the idea that now they have 5 times as many or 10 times as many,
60 plus million install base, 65 plus million install base at last check. Yes. And of course the game we're talking about here is Astrobot. Okay. He seems to think that beyond a few people, not enough people know the Astrobot franchise for it to matter, but let's start from the beginning. Okay. Pre-order the game. Well, I didn't pre-order the game. I actually, I bought the game to make sure that at midnight I would be able to try it. And at midnight it unlocked. So at midnight I started playing it. I played 10 minutes of it. And of course I died. I played 10 minutes of it and then I had to stop.
What were you saying about gameplay earlier?
You calm yourself. You share your gameplay clips and then you can talk smack. You shared nothing. How about you be quiet? Anyway.
Well, blame that on Steam. I'm still trying to sort out. When I was playing on Xbox, it was easier.
Yeah. Playing on Xbox was easier. I don't know what you're talking about. Just put the Steam recording to always recording in the background, and you always have footage. Needless to say, at midnight I started playing this, and I played 10 minutes of it and I stopped because I knew that if I kept playing this, it would take away my time from Space Marine, and I'm close to the end of Space Marine and I want to finish it. Like I was saying with Space Marine and what they've done here, the thing I thought of when I started playing this game, 2 things. One, I feel like Nintendo's like employee headhunters have been in the back rooms of PlayStation have been in the back room of Nintendo's back alleys where they have disgruntled employees and they're like sitting there with cash in pocket going, come on guys, come work with us. Come work with us. I swear to God, Team Asobi literally has to be made up of Nintendo employees or past Nintendo creators, because this is the closest to Nintendo level energy. When I say Nintendo energy, let's move it to game. Let's move it to movies for a minute. Pixar has a level of energy, right? Where every Pixar movie has a way. It's almost a signature, right? You can just tell that, oh yeah, this is a Pixar movie. This, if you didn't see Astrobot on display, if you didn't see all of the various PlayStation mascots and historical reference points, you could swear that this is a Nintendo game. Like, they have shot their shot so damn well here. Okay, that was my first thought. Second thought on this is, even though I don't think this beats the greatest that Mario has to offer, I don't think so. I'm a big Mario guy. My family's a big Mario heads. My son, I talk about it all the time. They love their Mario. There's no Mario they have not played. Both historical, old school 80s and 70s Mario, all the way to like the latest and greatest Mario. They play them all. They love them all. They beat them all.
There is no 70s Mario, but I take your point.
Well, Jumpman, you know.
Yeah, that's the
like, well, okay, early 80s Jumpman. Anyway, I wouldn't say this beats the best of Mario. I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is, for those who remember back in the GameCube days when everybody was all like, oh my God, GameCube is awesome. Graphics are there. They're competing with the best of the PlayStation and the Xbox and all of this. They're there. And then Nintendo went, you know what? We're going our own way. And they started the Wii. And there were a few of us during that time that went, come on, guys. you had the ability, because back in the day we saw like Smash Brothers running on GameCube, and we're like, if they keep this up, one day we're gonna see real graphic fidelity. You're gonna see real Zelda and hardcore, actual real graphic fidelity Mario. And then they kind of diverged and they went their own way with the Wii, and then of course the Switch, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is Nintendo has always, in the ratio of graphic performance to creativity, they've always deferred to creativity over graphic performance. And in hindsight, that has worked dividends for them. We all see that now, right? If we lived in a Nintendo's only Nintendo style a business model world, chances are you wouldn't be seeing as many studio closures as you're seeing now, because everybody would have like small budgets and heavy on the creativity. So clearly that has worked, right? But if you liked that world where Nintendo started off shooting their shot real big with graphic performance, and you're just sad at the fact that they didn't head in that direction, this seems to be where they would have gone. Like if this was Mario, this I could have seen a Mario game that had such graphic fidelity and performance.
Does this give you hope for the Switch 2?
I am still waiting to see, because Nintendo knows how to swerve. They know how to swerve. I'm waiting to see. But yes, this is what it looks like when you let creativity go, because boy, do they let creativity go on this one. They really shoot for the fences. They really do it. And then the graphic fidelity is there as well. This is the only game, short of the tech demo that was the last Astrobot, this is the only game that makes me not just tolerate, but love the DualSense. Like, I love using the DualSense here. It is a part of the game. The sound, and it's not just goofy rumbles. The sound and the way they communicate. It is a very, very special experience. It's quite, I mean, damn good. Like, really, 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 really good. So much so that I need to beat Space Marine so I can give this thing the time it's due. This is an hour of footage. I recorded this just so that I could play it. I could talk about it here. But man, oh man, like, this is great. Like, really, really great. And I understand if you're not a platform lover from jump, this will most likely not move the needle for you. But if you're not a platform gamer, come on now. Seriously, you're not a platform gamer? You really hate Nintendo and Mario and all of that? This breeds some of that nostalgic energy while moving to such a modern style that I really, really, really love. One last part of it that I have to give it credit for. Most games, specifically platformers, start at a certain level and then they start doubling and doubling. Like, you know, when we're talking Mario, you jump on heads. Oh, that seems to be the way you traverse. Okay, great. That's how you're getting rid of enemies. Then a little further down, now you got a cape and you can continue jumping on heads, but now you can fly. And then next time you'll get the fire plant, and now you can choose between them, but it layers on top of your capabilities. These guys, it's like they throw ideas away. And I mean this in the best way possible. You start at a level and you're just like, oh my God, they layer on what you can do. Like, you see the thing on my back right now. They layer on the stuff you can do. And you're just like, wow, this is getting better and better throughout the stage. And then at the end of the stage, all of those ideas are thrown away and the next stage is something completely different throughout the entire game. Every single level could be its own full-fledged game. They just have all these ideas that they just kind of toss and pretend didn't exist at the next level. And then that's just as interesting as the one you just left. It's really, like, it's amazing what they have done here. Like, it really is. It's outstanding what they have done.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Because I saw in the chat earlier when I said I'm going to wait for this to come to Steam. Does this ever come to PC? Because it's really very PlayStation specific. It is, again, heavily focused on the DualSense. Maybe you don't get to appreciate the game enough if you play it without the DualSense, and not a lot of people play on PlayStation on PC with the DualSense. However, So I get it. I get why it might not go, because it's a love letter to PlayStation, but one would think that a love letter for PlayStation would be the perfect game for a PC, because it would introduce
it's a calling card,
a whole
if
new,
you will.
right? Exactly.
Yes.
And they did release the PC app to tune the PlayStation controller, right? This could sell PlayStation controllers on PC, right? They have the tools for it. So if you want to ingratiate the PC audience with PlayStation, maybe this is one of the ways you do it. And I heard that the some of the people from Asobi said that they were very interested in feedback from people on the PC. So my question to you and the chat is, does this game ever come to PC? And if so, how long?
I honestly think this game should come to PC. 100%, I think, and for all the reasons you just described, right? People would go, oh, it shouldn't be on PC because it's very much PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation's trying to find their calling card. Remember, so is Xbox, right? They're trying to be like, hey, we're gonna put our games elsewhere so that you can remind you of us.
Calling card for Xbox is the streets.
Calm down.
It's just showing.
And by the way, and by the way, here's a funny little tidbit. There are 2 Xbox IPs inside this game, but we'll move quickly along. 2 of them are in this game anyway. But I agree with you.
Don't tell us, because I feel like that's part.
No. Those are you should discover. I just said 2, and again, I've only played an hour, so it's right at the beginning. 2 Xbox IPs are in this game. There might be more after I play further, but 2 of them so far. I was like, hey, and this is again Microsoft being a good guy, because PlayStation would not do that. Anyway, let's move on. I think you're right. This should be on PC. I think it will be on PC. Why? Because most people play with this guy. If you're playing on Steam with a controller, you're usually using this. That's what you're usually doing. You're using an Xbox controller on Steam. That's the vast majority, right? And PlayStation has done pretty good work here. And by the way, this is all like, you can like do this while you're in the thing. It moves with the controller. Anyway, PlayStation has done good work here in getting the PC audience an app that works well in the DualSense, right? They've done some updates recently with the DualSense. The DualSense works pretty well on Steam. Even way back in the day when they were talking about what's that Xbox exclusive, what's that Bethesda exclusive that came to PlayStation first? Remind me of the title of that game, where the protagonist sounded like Solo Backslap. I forget the name of the game right now. Chat, you know the name of the game I'm talking about. 2 games when Bethesda were bought by Microsoft came exclusively to PlayStation. First one of them was by what do you call it? By Tango, and the other one was Deathloop. That's it. Thank you, Lucius. Deathloop. Even with Deathloop, right, from day one that it came on PC, you plug in the DualSense and you were getting the DualSense features. So they've always been good at allowing that feature to traverse to other platforms, right? So even like I never played, well, I played it later, Deathloop on PlayStation 5, but I played it first on PC, and I used the DualSense on PC and got all of the DualSense type features. So they've always been able to allow that to work well. And to your point, the calling card of all the fun IPs and the callbacks and the some of the characters that are uniquely PlayStation, they all live in this game, and they do it in a very kind of cute, very Astrobot kind of way. So if there's ever been a calling card for, hey, come and play our game, come and check out our franchises, this is it. It really is. And of course, as you see right there, the one with the bandana, I'll leave you to discover more of them. There are like 300 or so that you have to find. But yes, I really do think it would do well on PC, because it has that energy as a calling card for their franchises. When will it be there? It's not, to me, and you can tell me what you think, but to me, when it comes to PlayStation, it's not a strategic decision when it will come. It's more of a technical decision, because their games don't port as easily to x86 as Xbox does, right? Xbox games are basically PC games that have been consolified. Sony games are Linux-based games that have to be really ported with effort to other platforms, to x86 platforms. And that's why they actually hired and bought studios in order to make that work a little easier for them. So should it be, I think this should have been released, honestly, I think this should have been released on the PS4. I think this should have been released on PC day one. Because if it was released on both platforms, it would have crushed. A lot more younger audiences have PS4s than they do PS5s. And I'm talking about your 8 to 13-year-old demographic. They all, and I've spoken to many of them, well, not many, but I've spoken to a lot of my family and friends anecdotally who have those 12 to 13-year-olds, right? Because my kids are within that realm as well. And when the PlayStation 5 became last gen, right? When it became something of an older system, that's the hand-me-down system that the youngins got. So they are all still playing your games that are like, I talked with a buddy's kid last week who's playing freaking, what's the name of the game? Playing a Ubisoft game, Far Cry 6, and they're all playing and they're like, oh, I got such a great deal. It was like $20. And then when the game came out, it was $70. Hand-me-downs. That's where they are at this point, right? Because it's no longer the generational game, the main generation. They are now playing PS4 games, and there's a lot of them, and a lot of them would have loved to play this. This would have crushed on PS4. I think it's a, and I know,
you think the PS4 could handle this?
I think this can scale well enough to PS4. Yes. The
I'm
only thing that's really
particles.
No,
and,
yeah. Particles can be
physics.
particles. Think of particles like what do you call it? Like crowd density. You can always minimize. You can lessen the particles. You can minimize, and the physics. The PlayStation 4 has not been bad on physics. It's more it's more CPU intensity that it was very much a problem with. And yes, it won't look and play exactly like this, but I think it could be done. I really think it could be done. And they would have gotten a lot of people in there had they done this, because the younger audiences are there, right? There are not as many younger audiences on PS5 as there is on PS4. I'm almost sure of that, right? Because when dad gets the PS5, the hand-me-down goes to the kiddos, and that's where they live. That 8 to 13 demographic would eat this up. My kids right now are probably banging down my door trying to play this right now. I was recording this for footage for the show, and they were just like, they really, it really speaks to them. So I think this game is great. I think PlayStation has a hit on their hands. I hope we see the plushies. I hope we see the cartoon. I hope that this translates into that transmedia thing that they're looking for. But yeah, if you haven't played, if you're not a person who likes your platformers, I get it, right? I do. I get that. I'm being facetious. If you're not a platformer person, I get that. This won't change your mind. Like, this is very much a platformer. But if you are a platform lover and you remember things like Little Big Planet and Big Sack Boy, sorry, pause. I have to call him Big Sack Boy. Anyway, if you're one of those guys and you're like, well, I didn't like what they did there, give this one a chance. This is far better than that. From my experience, the Sackboy games were too floaty, not precise, right? They're definitely not precise. It's very much a floaty world, because remember they were trying to do with Little Big Planet, they were trying to do their own Minecraft kind of situation, right? And this is very precise. This is very, very precise. This is far better of a precision platformer than, in my opinion, than Little Big Planet and all the Astrobot games, the Sackboy games ever were. It's a fun platformer. So there you have it. So these are the games I've been playing, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Everborn Saga, are you seriously gonna wait until this thing comes to PC? I really do think you own a PS5. You should play this. No. I want to be very, very clear. Mm-hmm.
I know that if I play this, it will probably be my game of the year, because it's just my kind of game, right?
It's great.
I'm all about platformers, particularly 2D, but 3D is like my second favorite. 3D platformers are my second favorite genre of video games. I'm not not really into shooters, so like this is my bag. I'm only saying, like, these days, if you can't offer me a handheld option, and if I swear to God, if somebody says the PlayStation Portal, I'm gonna like block you from the chat.
I mean, are you in places where Wi-Fi lives?
Yeah, all the time.
If you're in places where Wi-Fi lives, then install, what is it? PS Replay, or yeah, I think it's called PS Replay. It's an app, and you can basically connect. No,
it's not that. It's
your ally
to
the PS5 and play it, wherever Wi-Fi lives.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm saying I've gravitated more with my game purchases and where I choose to purchase them, because I used to purchase all my third-party stuff on Xbox, but Xbox doesn't have a competent handheld option, right? It's I'll buy the game and maybe it's cross-play, maybe it's not. So I don't like dealing with that. I want to just not be able to think about it, play the game where I want to play it. And right now, if this game was in Steam, I would have been playing it right now. But I have 2 games download. I'm in the middle of one game. I got another game downloaded, and I got another game pre-ordered.
Too much.
And all 3 of those games, I can play it where I want to play. Right. Yeah. And so if this was also available on the PC, I would have got this as well. But I where I am right now in my journey, like, if you're not going to give me that sort of freedom that I get from when a game is available on Steam, then I can wait a little while. Now, if I didn't have these other games, then I would play it. But like, I'm gonna, yeah, absolutely, yes, you're damn right. If it's not on, I don't want it. That's the reason I didn't get Star Wars Outlaws yet. As soon as they bet me to go to Steam, I will get Star Wars Outlaws. So.
I'm actually playing that with what do you call it? The Ubisoft Plus. Not a bad game. Not a bad game.
That's fantastic. I'll get it when it comes to Steam. So yeah. But no. All props due to this game. The moment I heard they were making this, because when we first got the PS5s, this was like the game, and a lot of people we're waiting for them to turn it into a full experience. Good, that's fine. Keep waiting. But I think our boy Totoki got me. I think Hiroki Totoki is gonna look out and put the game where more people can experience it. When everybody plays, we all win.
When everybody plays, PlayStation's wallet wins, is what you're saying. Hey.
Come to Keep Steam going. and but anyway, I'm so excited for this game. I believe people when they say it's game of the year, and it is on my list.
It's a tough roll to hold, man, because people love Wukong, right? People love Wukong, and rightly so. It deserves.
So I want to talk about this. About this. People love Wukong for a week, and then this came out. Now this is game of the year. At what point do we acknowledge recency bias? Right.
Well,
what I didn't like is people saying this is better than the best Mario or up there with the best.
No, it's not. It's not better than the best Mario. It's just, look, and when people say that, don't get upset, because what they're doing is giving Nintendo respect. Right? No one has ever come close to the magic that is Nintendo's capabilities with Mario.
People say this is the best game PlayStation has ever made, right? And it looks
but when somebody says that, you must ask them what kind of games they like, because some people don't like platformers. And if you're a really big platformer person, this is the best platformer they've ever made, hands down. This game is the best platformer that PlayStation has ever made, hands down. And if you're a platformer person, then that means this is the best game they've ever made for you, right? Not everybody's like that, right? But I think what they mean what I mean when I say they've come closer to Nintendo energy, it's like a Pixar. No one has ever come close to the magic that is Nintendo. No one has ever come close. And I said that, and John Wolf had to come in here and talk to me and say that BS about, well, Sonic Superstars did. Get the hell out of here with that beat. Like that made me want to just jump out my chair laughing, ha ha ha. Like, come on. And again, y'all heard me say how I liked Sonic Superstars. I did. But to even
the most Nintendo Sonic game.
What's that?
It was
the one that
Sonic
we talked about.
World.
Yes, Sonic Lost World was the closest.
You can get that for super cheap. Check that out if you haven't.
Yes, we actually talked at length about that, right? Sonic Superstars was a good game, but it is nowhere near close to even the normal Mario games. And normally that is to be expected, right? Because most of these games, we've regulated ourselves to the idea that, oh, no one can ever come close to what Nintendo does, right? That's where we live. No one can ever come close to that energy.
No, listen.
This comes close. And this is why we're so like flabbergasted. It is to respect Nintendo to say, hey man, someone has actually come close to the magic and the majesty that is Nintendo's creativity and quality.
Here's what I will not, I don't want to do and I will not do is take anything away from this game, because this looks, I mean, I have not played it yet, but it looks like exactly the game.
It's excellent. Yeah.
Speaking to the recency bias thing that we see all too often, when a game comes out for that week, it's the best thing ever, and then the next thing comes out, and then that's the best thing ever.
Sure.
So I'm just saying,
and you know what? When it comes to that, the unfortunate nature is we are at a time in gaming where one shot, like if this was 2000 or whatever, Space Marines would have been the best thing that ever come out. But unfortunately, it's among many others, right? And then Wukong was such a big, huge deal. And now it comes out, and it seems to have not only the marketing was good, the actual game itself was also good. Now, the reason why I think that maybe this is more deserving of the Game of the Year talk than Wukong would be is that this is far more approachable by all than the Wukong game. It is excellent.
Yeah,
that game is.
I'm
but only a subset of the gaming community can or will play that. This is approachable by all.
I'm only making a general point that you should let some time pass and sit on something till after you've completed it, and then think about it like a month later, and then ask yourself, is it still the best thing ever?
Sure. No,
while you are playing it, while you're in the fog of war, I don't think any of us can make these kind of claims about anything being
and let me be clear. Let me be clear
how it sits in your memory before you define it as game.
And let me be clear. The reason why I am making Mario comparisons is I bet among us on this panel here and in the chat here, I play more Mario games than anybody else. By the very nature of having a 7 and a 5-year-old who won't leave Mario alone. Like last week, I played the old school Jumpman Mario versus Luigi, because they happen to put that on the Wii, on the Switch, right? Or
Black Viking says Balatro's game of the year.
And Black Viking, sir, I do not disagree, because I still play that game as well. It's tough. I played it on my phone. Don't ask me how. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, and yes, by the way, they have made word that Balatro is officially coming on phones. I'm super excited about that. But yes, Balatro is amazing as well. Look, the reason I am making these comparisons is I have Mario, all of the Marios, fresh in the mind. Oh, see, I ruined one of the surprises for you already. See, there you go. Microsoft IP. Ding. Anyway, I have Mario fresh in the mind because my kids are always playing.
About me spoiling games now, by the way.
Hey man, this was the footage that did it. It wasn't me. And it's right at the beginning. Anyway, look, I play all those Mario games fresh in the mind because I'm trying to remind my kids of where gaming came from. If I leave it to them, they're always on their tablet playing something that I consider less than, right? I'm sorry, y'all Roblox fans. I think that's less than, right? If I leave it to them, that's what they'll do. If I leave it to them, it'll be nothing but Minecraft, which I like Minecraft, but y'all have to know where gaming came from. So I make sure I get them. I've gotten them involved in Sonic. Believe it or not, they've played all of the Sonics, the OG Sonics plus the new ones that come out, and all the OG Nintendo games, right? And of course, because Nintendo likes to put their games in their virtual store there, if you are part of their subscription service, which we are, then you have access to all these cool, interesting, old school nostalgia plays that they have there as well. So my kids at any moment in time are playing one Mario game or another Mario game or something adjacent to it, right? So that's why I'm like, wow. My son said as soon as she saw this Mario Odyssey, not Wonder, because Wonder blows this away still, I contend. But he's like, yep, this is very much the Mario Odyssey kind of a game. It's really cool. And my daughter, as soon as she saw this guy, because the powers they give you, as soon as she saw this guy, she was like, oh yeah, it's like that game Arms. You know, the game Arms on Switch where you use your arm. Same kind of thing, right? These are my children who don't necessarily watch gaming podcasts, who aren't about all of that, right? But what they do is they play all these platforming and Mario games and all this all the time. So when they saw it, they definitely want to play this game. I haven't let them play it yet because they've been bad boys and girls this week, so that I have not allowed them to play games. What I did allow them, like a bad dad, I allowed them to watch me play this, so they feel very much FOMO. I might let them play this after I'm done with this podcast. But needless to say, it really speaks to that energy. It really, it has come close than any game I've ever played.
Even more than like.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
The Nintendo energy. When I look at the gameplay here, and even when I was playing Astro's Playroom, like this gives me the vibes of how I felt about PlayStation in the PS1 days, where they were basically like the house of ideas, and you could see any kind of game from them, super creative, super niche, and just prioritizing fun over everything else. And again, this is a beautiful looking game, but it's not trying to be photorealistic. And
Yep.
And I hear that the budget was like less than $20 million, which $20 million sounds like a lot, but when you compare it to some of these other AAA games,
200 and something million,
right? This game was made for pennies, and it only had a 3-year development cycle. And to me, this looks like why I fell in love with video games to begin with. And so
now you're speaking that Digital Foundry energy. Isn't that what they said? This is why we love video games.
But this is the kind of energy I think we need from everybody, where we're not, listen, movies are movies and games are games. What strikes me about this is that, and what I think is the other best game from PlayStation this generation, which is Returnal, this is a game-ass game. Like it's not trying to be anything else.
Yeah. What's the story? Who cares? Weird. And by the way, a little quick slander. What's the story? You're flying in the air. You're flying in space with your, and this is literally the cutscene that starts the game. You're flying in space with your PlayStation 5 spaceship, and then a weird green alien shows up and steals your chip, and now you have to go and makes your PlayStation 5 ship fall to its doom on an alien planet, throwing all of your bots all over the world, and now you have to go and find them. A weird green alien. I'm like, if the alien was square, there'd be a real problem. It's not square. It just looks like a generic alien. But the fact that the PlayStation 5 was on its merry way, having a great time, and then a weird green alien shows up, made me think that somebody put on the tinfoil kufi for a moment. I'm just saying.
It feels like a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it to you.
I'm just saying. I had a little bit of chuckle of that one.
No, but I just coming back to this idea, smaller budgets, more creative. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds said something when talking about how he's able to make those Deadpool movies. And they've all been super successful, and none of them had the kind of budget than most of the $253 million MCU movies has. And he says throwing money at a problem is sort of the death of creativity, right? Yeah. So when you're forced with the constraint of only having a small budget and a limited amount of time, that is where creativity is sort of born and flourishes, right? Because when you can just throw money at a problem, you don't have to think too long.
Yep.
Just here, put more explosions, right? Let's get better texture.
More
Let's
explosions.
throw some
More
motion
explosions.
capture at it, right? This
Yeah.
is like, we don't have a huge budget, so we're not gonna like pretend we're a movie and sell you on that. We're gonna sell you. We can't sell you on that, so we are gonna sell you on what is the most fun you can have at this thing. And to me, that's what video games are about. So I'm all about this game. And it's funny, I'm saying all of this and I'm still waiting to play the game. That is only because I would prefer to play it on my ROG Ally. And back and forth on the
but that's the thing though. I would actually advocate, because you're not you play your game in handheld mode, right? You don't play
I play in both places. I play them in the Ally and I play them on the PC connected to the TV. What I'm saying is I don't want to have to think about where I'm playing anymore. I just want to be able to play. And
I get it. I guess I'm saying something else here. I'm saying this game specifically, based on what I've played so far, benefits from the DualSense use to the point where I think it loses something when you're just playing it regular. I mean, is it possible to play it regular? Absolutely it is. But it loses something when you're not adding that DualSense to the mix, which is a rarity.
That's something I would have to consider. But like, even if let's say it does come to PC, which I could see it both ways. I've explained why it would make sense, but I could also see why there's a very PlayStation specific thing, and maybe Asobi wants to move on to what their next project is. But I could connect the PS5 controller to the PC, so I wouldn't lose anything.
Yeah, exactly. Now you could do it to the Ally as well, but then you gotta Ally small screen, and that's the only part. That's the only part that I'm just it may live better on the PC than anything else.
My only thing is I know this utilizes the touchpad, right?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Like, the touchpad is there, you can touch it, but I haven't seen any mechanics so far that utilizes that touchpad in a critical way.
Okay.
But then again, I said, they just keep throwing ideas out, and I'm only on like stage 2 or 3. There could be a stage that's all touchpad. So far, I have not come across that.
What I was thinking was, and we've never seen this, right? And I wonder if we'll start to see it, because like we see developers starting to target devices like the Steam Deck, where they know you have tactile controls, but they also know that there's a touch screen right in front of you. We haven't seen any PC games really take into account that you could touch the screen in front of you if you're playing on a handheld. I wonder because there's not enough of an audience on the PC side.
Right. Because it's all very the PC is very much traditional in their peripherals, right? And this is the thing with consoles, right? When they know you all have DualSense, then they have the ability to target the DualSense because they know they can make use of it. And this is why I was like, Microsoft should not release like DualSense competitors in the mid-gen, because then you don't know that everybody has one. So that means the developers have no reason to target it. The best way, the reason why you spend the money to target it is because you know every single person that has the capability of playing this game has that accessory as well, right? And on PC, you can never say that. So that's why I don't think you'll see these things become really a mainstay. If it was a port from another device, like a PlayStation, and then they add DualSense capabilities, sure, because it had it already in that context. Why bother taking it away? But I don't think you'll see people laser focus on Steam Deck features, because that's not all the only places people are going to play it, right? And if you target Steam Deck features and the person doesn't have a Steam Deck available to play it or something like that, it might be a detrimental experience to them. It's just one of those things, right? That is what differentiates console from PC. But okay, before we continue, and we are still going to talk lightly around the Astrobot and all of that, but let me catch up on a couple of these super chats that just popped in. Appreciate y'all for being here. Soil Tech, great member of the community. He's been a member for 3 months. We appreciate y'all. He says, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you, sir. And I hope all of you watching, all 250 of you between the X channels and between the YouTube channels, I hope you guys are heeding Mr. Soil Tech's recommendation. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're new here. Consider being a member. We love all the members. We love all the folks who've been rocking with us since day one, as we get bigger and better at this as we're doing. You guys power us. You guys keep us inspired to keep moving. So we appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you so much, Soltech. The Great Infinite Umbra, who's been a member for 5 months, he says Astrobot hasn't given me the feel of outdoing or being on par with the best Mario games, yet it does a lot well. Black Myth Wukong is still my game of the year, and there's no wrong in that opinion. You know, you're a man who cultivates in the difficult game. You like to play and immerse yourself in the deep details of these games that some people can't hang with because they're not at that level. You know, so I can imagine that for you, Black Myth Wukong still stands head and shoulders above the rest as your game of the year. And cheap plug while I'm at it, the Great Infinite Umbra also left a review for us on thegamingcircle.com. He wrote a wonderful piece really defining why he thought that Black Myth Wukong stands head and shoulders among many in its genre. He even gave it a 9.5 ultimately as his score. And I think he did a great job. He wrote a great review. I hope people are watching it. I hope people are spending time and reading that written word, because it hits differently. If you have a chance to check out that review, and you can find that on thegamingcircle.com. Thank you, Mr. Infinite Umbra. We always appreciate you and your contributions. And then we have the man I haven't spoken to in a while. I hope you're doing well, man. Drawn TJ, $5 super chat. He says, "Hi guys, I'm listening while at work. Do you think the next Xbox will be hybrid with Steam native?" I don't know about hybrid. I don't know about Steam native. Hybrid being, I suspect hybrid, the idea of hybrid being you can plug it in, watch it on your TV, or you can have it on your handheld, a la the Switch. But Steam native, Mr. Everborn Saga, how do you feel about that? I am not sure of Steam native. Steam capable, possibly, but Steam native meaning it just literally installs when you it's available day one when you just when you have it in your hand. I'm not sure about that. What do you think?
All right, I was actually talking about this yesterday with Lucius Augustus. I like the dream would be that Xbox makes a handheld that plays all your console games and in an Xbox mode, similar to when you're in gaming mode in the Steam Deck, and then you could jump out to like boot into proper Windows and play, and then install Steam like you would on a PC today or any gaming handheld, and play your Steam games that way, right? Maybe you could even say that they'll have access, the Xbox mode would have access to the same file system. So if you install it in the PC mode, you can still access it from your Xbox sort of GUI. That would be the dream. I don't know if that is possible from a licensing perspective, or if Microsoft is interested in doing what it would take to make something like that. I would love that. I think that's what people want. But what I think we're going to see from them is just a box that's a PC, at least from a handheld space. And that is where you'll play your Steam games. It'll just be a PC like a ROG Ally, and they'll do some things from a UI perspective that'll make the whole situation easier. And I think that starts at the application layer and not the OS layer. So I really think what the first thing we'll see from them is like an Xbox big picture mode.
See, like now when you say that saddens me, because that means there's a world where we can have a console that has print spooler drivers just running in the background for no reason.
I mean, maybe that's part of them making a gaming mode that doesn't have those things that aren't needed, right? Like today you can get Tiny 11, which has all that stuff stripped out, right?
Removed. That's right.
So there's nothing to say that Microsoft can't have a version of Windows, or at least a mode that doesn't have those things, or a mode that shuts all those things down.
And
again,
actually remind me when we talk about that ally adjacent mode, there's an interesting feature I want to bring to your attention that I think is pretty cool that some of these small bespoke handhelds are doing now too. So we'll talk about that.
Before you say that, I was listening to the Sam's report yesterday. We all know Brad Sams.
Of course. Yeah. The great Brad Sams. Yeah.
He brought up, because he's not just a YouTuber, he runs a software company called Stardock.
Yeah.
And they make,
which does amazing things for Windows.
Right. They customize Windows to make it more either user friendly or just UI things that they're super tuned into that maybe Microsoft doesn't want to or can't do, because Microsoft has to make something that's good for 1 billion people, and Stardock makes stuff that's specific to certain use cases.
And they have lots of different customers that have different use cases. So Stardock can be more poignant and specific about what they're doing, whereas Microsoft has to appease the masses. Yeah.
Now what he said I found super interesting. Shout out to Lemon. What he said I found super interesting, which was, people have asked him many times, why doesn't his company, since his company customizes Windows, why don't they make a gaming Stardock make a gaming mode? And he said, this is the important part. It would be very dangerous for them. He didn't use the word dangerous, but it wouldn't be lucrative for them to compete with Microsoft. And his company, we're not talking about rumors or whatever here, his company believes that Microsoft is going to make a full-featured gaming mode for Windows. And if they make something, it would have to compete with that or live on top of it. And it would be free, and his company would have to charge
you for it.
Now, would Kay Asante and Everborn spend $30 for a gaming specific
oh hell yeah, I've spent about $100 up until now for all of that. Yes, I have.
That gets updated all the time, because it's paid software and they have to keep people happy, versus Microsoft.
I paid $75 for Launchbox, the pro version.
Right. So the thing is, if they are making company decisions based on that assumption, and Brad Sams is a prolific Microsoft leaker, not just Xbox.
I mean, he kind of leaked the front end. He leaked a front end that Microsoft would be making sometime. He did. Right. So
if he believes that, then I think we can kind of take it to the bank that Windows itself is going to get a lot more game UI friendly. And so,
I mean, it's his business to believe that, right? Because otherwise he'd be in there trying to make you buy his stuff. So it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. Yeah.
So I'm saying all of this to say, in that world, we could see a version of Windows in the future that works seamlessly with Steam and hides all the annoyances of being on a desktop operating system. Brad Sams and his company certainly believe that, and that's their whole bread and butter. So the only question is, will you be playing console versions of Xbox games, or will you be playing PC versions in that world?
I think both can live side by side, but that's a technical talk that we can get into at a later date. I think that the technical machinations of it would require you, because like you're saying, licensing, right? There is a world where a console game is licensed as a console game. It's just how it's defined within that context. Like, is a console game a game that is on a console platform, a hardware platform, or do they define it elsewhere, another way? I would think Microsoft is smart enough to define it in a way that even when it lives outside of its hypervisor home on a console, as long as it stays within the confines of the Xbox ecosystem, right, still an Xbox game, it could still be considered Xbox.
And we also,
because they've learned their lesson when they dealt with all this before.
And I hear, talk in the chat, if it's a PC handheld, it's DOA. I don't know that I believe that.
That's not
we'll see.
necessarily the case. I don't agree. Yeah.
Well, we should talk through that. But your Xbox is Windows right now. It just has a different shell.
Yep.
Right. You're running a Windows machine right now when you turn on your Xbox. So the question is, can they do that? So could your Xbox today, which is Windows, running a custom shell, could they also add the desktop shell to it so that you could get the other things? And then
now Karate Laundromat brings up a point. He says the issue is that a lot of these old games were licensed for physical media. They can't be released digitally. That has already been solved, sir. That's what you've seen the transition happen from 360 to Xbox One, right? There was games that were only licensed physically, and as such, they couldn't traverse, right? They couldn't come to the back compat team. That's why you've noticed a few key titles are still left on the cutting room floor that we love that can't be brought out. But by and large, the back compat process has brought a lot of the physical media games in digitally. And they've done that by redefining what a console is, right? Yes, a console is a console, right? But what does that mean? Is it a physical, is it a thing that has media that's only physical? If that is how they still define it, then that'd be very stupid, because they themselves and everyone else has left physical media behind. They are now selling you consoles that have no way of inputting physical media. So they have to define consoles as different without the physical media component, because otherwise they're literally leaving their games in the dust and they can never access them again. I'm pretty confident that they've redefined that console hardware, not hardware, they've defined that console ecosystem by other terms, possibly by the limitations or possibly by the walls that continue to govern it. You can't go in the background and make changes to things. It's still locked down as a console game. So even if it lives in a hypervisor in your Windows machine, you can't go poke and prod it because it's a console game, right? And that's why I say that fundamentally there could be a world that you live alongside. You can get, let's say Wukong releases on Xbox, you can play the Xbox version of Wukong alongside the Steam version of Wukong. It'd be the same game, but the Xbox version would be a locked profile, as Xbox is, and the Steam version would let you go up and down the stack based on what you want to add or remove to get your 60 frames, right? As long as they can define it as a console and keep it locked to the point where normals can't go around playing with it, it can still be determined and still be considered a console. And the question is, how does that language look like in the licensing? I suspect that language has been modified because this is a plan they've had in the works for some time now, and they know what they're doing when it comes to like editing the language to make it useful. They did this from 360 to Xbox One, and that's the reason why my beloved Jet Set Radio Future and FIFA Street and NBA, all of those are still left on the cutting room floor because they were not allowed to bring them over, right? That's why I still have to make sure I have an Xbox around, a 360 around, if I want to play FIFA Street or if I want to play any of those games that can't come over because they were defined a different way. Right now, let's be clear. If that is still how they are defined now, that is a very dumb move, and I don't think they are a dumb company. So I'm pretty confident that has been modified in that way. But okay, let us move on and speak about this news adjacent talk. Now, this came up, and I just want to quickly touch on it. I'm not sure you had a chance to read it, but I do think that it was a fun read, and I want to give the writer credit for writing it. And this was on Xbox Era. It is by Austin Proven. I know many of the community members know Austin and have talked to Austin before. He wrote a really good op-ed saying that Xbox and PlayStation don't need to copy each other to find success. And I will leave you to read, and I'll add it to the show notes when it's all said and done. I'll leave you to read the ins and outs of the point he makes. But even the subheading here makes the point for me, which I thought was really, really cool. Comparison is the thief of joy. Mr. Everborn Saga, what are your thoughts, sir? It is It is his summation and his theory of the case that Xbox can do what they do and find success in doing what they do, right? And PlayStation can do what they do and find success in doing what they do. And we don't need to always go, hey, why doesn't PlayStation have a Forza? They might get Forza itself soon, but that's neither here nor there. And why is it that the Xbox doesn't have a platformer to compete with this? Like, they can each find success living where they live, because remember, Killzone was supposed to be the death was the Halo killer. And because that's how it was looked at, it was never able to find its full voice. What are your thoughts on that?
I think anytime you like that, like being a copycat to see if you can be the X killer of something, that to me is the death of creativity, right? If my goal is only to make a better version of what the other guy is making, then you know, I don't think we'll get the best that each of these companies can offer us, right? Now, that's not to say you don't demand greatness from whatever platform you like, choose to work with, but you don't have to say, well, these guys have a superhero game, so you need to have a superhero game, or these guys have a platformer, so you need to have a platformer. What you should want is for them to make the best games that they make, right? So when Nintendo makes Zelda or Pokemon or I think the last Pokemon game wasn't very good, but you know what I mean, or Mario Wonder, right? No, when Mario Wonder came out, everybody loved it. It was amazing, fantastic, reminds people why they love video games. No one said, hey, Sony, where's your 2D platformer?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They said, Sony, do what you do. We ready for this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that part of the reason you maybe hear this on the Xbox side is because Xbox, like apart from Forza, which I don't think they get enough credit for, like Forza Horizon. Apart from,
don't worry, they'll get it soon when they'll get it soon when they implement the DualSense features. Go ahead.
Xbox has a lot of games in a lot of different genres that are best in class, and I just don't think that they kind of get the credit they deserve sometimes. But part of that is from their own base, right? Yeah,
from their own making.
They're a lot of their base sees whenever PlayStation does something and says, "Hey, why don't I have that?" Right? And so I'm totally on board with what they're saying, but I think if Halo were in a better place than it is right now, just from terms of public perception, Halo Infinite is one of my favorite Halo campaigns. It's my favorite Halo campaign since 3. So I'm not coming at the game. I'm just saying the public perception of Halo is not what it once was, and everybody's excited for Gears E-Day, but that's not here yet. And so because and Fable looks like they're gonna knock it out of the park, but again, that's not here yet. So because we don't have those kind of zeitgeist games on the Xbox side at the moment, every time they see someone else release something, they're like, when does my moment in the sun come? And so they say, why don't you have that? But if Xbox was doing what it needed to do in the present, I think you'd have a lot less of that talk.
Sure.
And people would just say PlayStation's going to do what they do, and that's going to be great. And Nintendo's going to do what they do, and that's going to be great. And Xbox is going to do what they're going to do, and that's going to be great. But we're in this weird place right now with Xbox where you're kind of waiting for those things, and then you got all this multi-platform news, which we're not talking about today. That it just says, well, where I'm a fan of this platform, where's my moment to shine? And so the only example you have of shining is when the other guys do it. So you say, well, why don't you do that? Because that's working. But I don't think it's that. I think really this only comes because of Xbox, because PlayStation guys don't say, hey, I never really hear PlayStation guys say, where's our Forza Horizon? Right?
True.
They're happy.
They're busy playing their game.
Or whatever.
You know, that's right. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No,
you definitely don't hear that from Nintendo guys. So I really think that's just something coming out of Xbox because of where they are in their content pipeline.
So okay. I encourage everybody to read this article. I thought it was a great article, very well written, very positive, very, very interesting take on it. We'll move along, and I will bring this to the congregation. This is for my slanderous ones in the chat, the ones who want to put the boot on next, you know, the ones who think boot to next season is not ended yet.
There's
okay.
Wait. No, it's fine. There was a fire alarm going off. I guess somebody pressed.
You all right? Okay.
No. Somebody's cooking in the kitchen. It's fine.
Okay, understood. So for those who want to be a little more slanderous,
then I'm gonna run off the podcast because the house is burned down. But I think it's fine.
Oh no, don't do that, please. For those who wanna keep the slanderous energy going, you know, it has been a thing that people have said for a while that PlayStation always seems to get the media eases them in and doesn't really take them to task as much. This is the latest Eurogamer article, and it wasn't actually an article. It was they had a podcast, and I actually listened to it. A lot of interesting takes, but I thought just the initial take that from the top warranted a quick discussion, because as you can read, it says PlayStation's Astrobot success and the PS5 Pro hints don't distract from Concord's failure. So it seems that some of the media, which have historically been always labeled as loves to always inoculate PlayStation, but in favor of the other platforms, are now starting to get around to slapping the hands of slapping the hands that presumably feeds them a little bit. What do you think about this Everborn saga? Do you think this is much ado about nothing, or has Concord broken something? Oh, is he still around? Is he
that was actually the neighbors. That was actually the neighbor's fire alarm. It's just my windows are open.
Okay.
All right. So tell me the question again.
My question is, it seems that the media who used to be very much criticized for not giving Sony the business because of Concord, it seems like that those previous situations are subsiding, and we're getting a lot more pointed language in their direction. Look at this latest headline by Eurogamer, which is to say, hey, we're not taking the okie doke, we're not falling for it. Even though Astrobot is good, and even though you're teasing the PS5 Pro, it doesn't distract from the fact that Concord was an abject failure. This is what this is saying right now, and this is basically the talking points of their article. It's surprising to me that these articles are saying these things. What do you think?
I'm surprised they wrote that.
You see what I'm saying? This is why I bring this up.
Now,
right?
Are we gonna hear about some people saying there's a PlayStation tax?
We shall see. I guess what I'm saying is maybe that tax has kind of given way a little bit. Could it be that Concord has broken the reins, broken the ranks, so now people are talking in a bit more poignant terms, or is this just an outlier?
No, I mean, listen, the Concord thing is notable, right? And you know, you can have this good news, Astrobot, great. People are going to be excited for the PS5 Pro, which is a whole other discussion. But I can't remember seeing something like this in recent history where you had a game that was that big that was subsequently here's the thing. It's not like a Cyberpunk situation where the game was broken.
Yeah.
So they said
it was fine. It was built well. The game worked. It was ready to play. Yes. And then they canceled it right away. Yep.
They shut it like immediately. 11 days this game was on the market.
Yep.
And I don't think there's can we point to another example of where a game that was this high profile, and it was high profile, they showed it on their showcase, They made an Amazon animation for it, right? Which is still going to air, right? They believed in the game so much that they bought the studio making it, Firewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And then they shut it down in 11 days.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a headline like this, I would have to say you're not doing your job as a person covering video games.
So to your question as what's the closest that we can point to, didn't EA what Anthem was the closest, but even Anthem is playable today, right? They just kind of walked away from it. The game is still playable. You can still play it for what it's worth. It's still accessible.
To walk away from it?
I think like 6 months or so. Let me dig through.
Okay, 6 months versus 11 days.
Yeah. No game has been exit stage left like this as badly as this. I think this is really that bad. And I see you in the chat, Umbra. He says Babylon's Fall, but Babylon's Fall wasn't as AAA in its pursuits. It didn't hit the zeitgeist like this did, you know?
Yeah, but so even Babylon's Fall lasted about 20 times longer than this game, right? So, and then I see someone saying ET, right?
Yeah. I mean, but we have to go back as far back as Atari to find that. Yes, right, there are still landfills. You have
to go back, and that tanked the entire industry, right? So this is not that kind of thing. I mean, we could say it's the Lucis said ET
slander. Oh,
so it's just what do you make of this, and what's the post-mortem here, right?
We don't know yet. I think that their idea of retooling is a face-saving move. I don't think we ever see this thing come back.
If you were gonna retool, you would have kept the game going so that you could get some kind of telemetry to see the way people play it. Yeah. They just didn't want to pay for those Azure servers that they needed to keep.
Were they on Azure servers?
That's what I heard. I heard they were running on Azure.
Okay. Much like the Helldivers 2, also running on Azure. Interesting.
Maybe I'm confusing it with Helldivers. I could be confusing it with Helldivers. I don't know what service these were running. But the point is, it costs money to keep it going, and they just had no faith in it, and neither did we. So I can't really say that I blame them. But you know, like, how has Sony explained this, or are they just ignoring it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think all, like, have they said anything to their shareholders? That do they need to? Is it just one game so it doesn't matter? But and what do you think about the idea that this is the canary in the coal mine for the fall of the live service game?
I wish it was,
or was this
because
just a
I
bad
don't
game?
like it. I wish it was the fall of this live service game, because I don't like the idea that everyone's pursuing that idea. There should be diversity in content, right? And more as money is made there, it seems like everyone's foregoing their past tries to just focus on this live service monkey, this gold rush. But because there have been so many other successful parts in this genre, I think this game won't change anything right now. PlayStation specifically, their feelings on live service, I think this will change something in that regard. I personally think this is a good look. I do. Why? Because I saw how PlayStation was moving in this space in a bit too much of an ego-driven way, right? You walk into a space and you want to dictate terms, like you run the spot. You're on Steam, you're on PC. It has the different connotation, different monikers, different users that have to be adhered to in a different way. But you guys were coming with that, PlayStation energy, and somebody needs to slap your hand and bring you back down to earth and say, hey, you're in Rome, time to do like the Romans, right? So I think them failing in this way will ultimately teach them the lesson that they need to approach the PC audience a different way. But I don't foresee this going. I don't see a world where they go, okay, this failed. We've had others that have been canceled. We're now back to our sad dad single player simulators. That's it. I wish they would, because I love that old world where they did this and PlayStation and Xbox does that. I like that, right? But budgets don't unballoon themselves. They're still ballooning, right? You, the audience, still demands graphical fidelity from them. You don't, if they woke up one morning and decided to only make Nintendo-like games, you all who like PlayStation wouldn't be happy. So they still have those budgets to account for. They still have those huge tent poles to try and reach out and get, right? They're still competing against a platform that owns COD now, right? So the idea that they'll just go back to their fundamental roots, I don't foresee that happening. Will they move softly? I hope so. I hope that they move in a more humble way, right? Just like how they did so with Astrobot, right? They've been trying to hit something, and now they seem to have found something interesting that is un-PlayStation like. They're not touting it as this next crazy next gen thing or graphic fidelity thing. They're not putting all that energy into it. They're just letting the game stand for itself, right? And the game itself stands really well by itself. I'm hoping that that's where they go with their next version of the live service attempt. But this is PlayStation, so we really don't know. You know what I mean? They I don't know if they've learned their lesson or if this is just, oh yeah, one experiment failed, let's move on to the next experiment. We shall see, right? When Concord first hit the streets as being a problem, I was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to be Ubisoft, or are they just going to be what we know them to be, which is PlayStation, nothing to see here? And now we've seen what they've done, right? They could have done Ubisoft, right? They could have kept the servers alive, quietly started retooling it, keep working on it until eventually it becomes something that's worth paying for or worth spending time in. But instead they chose to just close it off and move in a different direction. We shall see what this means ramification wise. I don't think we've seen the post-mortem, because I think they're going to try and thread the needle and say, yeah, Concord died, but look at this Astrobot. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to save face. So we'll see how all of this shakes out, Bunty, super chat, $5. Thank you so much for being here, Bunty. He says, tell me why you like Xbox. A man admits is a mistake. Sony don't. Man admits he's in the wrong. Sony don't.
He said, let me tell you why I
let me tell you why. I'm sorry. Yes. A man admits is a mistake. Sony don't. A man admits when he's wrong. Sony doesn't. Sony doesn't. A man admits when he needs help. See, and Bunty, to your point, that's why I like Xbox as well. I have been fighting a lot of folks in my community, Everborn himself as well, and you'll attest to this. I like them, Xbox that is, putting themselves out there front and center, warts and all, right? And they use that as their mea culpa, their kumbaya, people call it, way, right? Whereas PlayStation, like you're saying here, they are the last to admit to fault. They are, we meant to do that. Nothing to see here, move on. And because it works, people say that's what Xbox should do as well. I don't like the idea that everyone should move in a deceitful kind of way in order to keep you satiated or feeling special, right? If Phil Spencer sits on a couch and says, oh, they were pitched an idea for Guitar Hero and they stupidly didn't take it because they didn't see how good it was, and now of course we know how great it was and people still remember it fondly. People use that against them and go, oh, you're this or you're that. I think that is them being humble and recognizing their faults. But people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that they like to be humble or they like to admit their fault. They use that against them as them being bad or something like that. And the fact that Sony likes to obfuscate and do one of the sleight of hands, nothing to see here. Look at Astrobot when you just had the biggest failure. People like that's their move. That's just me. Like I've seen that.
I mean,
am I wrong, Everborn?
I'm sure, but it's all that's sort of about like like imaging,
business and
right?
marketing and
Because-
imaging. Yes, yes.
Right, because again, we can say that we appreciate that Xbox does that, but what has that wrought them in terms of public perception by them constantly admitting their mistakes, and then like people view them as weak? It's so here's the thing, like
I mean, I'd
there's
say the
this,
hardcore view them as weak. They're not the only people
so
that matter,
the media does as well, unless they're buying someone, then
which
they're
are
the
also
big,
part of the hardcore by and large. But
yeah,
continue.
right, but unless they're doing an acquisition, then they're the big bad going to destroy the whole industry monopoly.
Exactly. They teeter from being the bad wolf to being the crop on the shoe. Like,
wait a minute, Lucius, what don't you appreciate? What is
them admitting their mistakes? The stuff that I'm saying, that he doesn't appreciate that at all. He says, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I just think it's two different approaches. And we can say, like, you know, okay, well, they admit their mistakes and it's a part of transparency. But I feel like when you need Xbox to be transparent, they aren't. Right? So, so for example, you can't admit your mistakes, but you also won't admit what your full third-party strategy is, knowing it's going to piss people off. Right?
Well,
but you're happy to come out and say, well, you made this mistake and you ain't this and you ain't that.
That's not fair. The reason why I say that's not fair is they have ideas that are not fully baked, and you want them to spell it all out before it's fully baked. That nobody does that. Like, nobody does that.
I don't want them to string their customers along. They could just come out and say these things.
I mean, PlayStation strings their customers along all the time. They keep making you last gen games and calling it next gen. You go, yes, more please.
Yeah, but PlayStation,
they all do it in a different way.
Right?
Sure.
PlayStation's doing that,
and Xbox just gave you a COD 6 beta, and people are loving that. So
which you can play on your PlayStation.
Hey man, they know where money's made.
I'm just saying.
This special snowflake stuff is what needs to stop.
I hear you, right? But if the special snowflake stuff needs to stop, then say what you're doing and don't like hold back information that your customers want to know, right? Tell people what you're doing.
You want them to have it all, have it out, have them all cried out. Have Lucius just like spend a week just crying on social, going, it's over because they've just told me everything, rather than a tear every 2 weeks.
If we're supposed to grow up, if we're supposed to handle this information like adults, then speak to us like adults. They're not doing that.
True.
Right?
True.
They're keeping people in the dark. They're
let me be clear. I'm being slanderous right now. I totally am. I'm just being.
I totally get that. All I'm saying is they're doing a slow drip of information, and they are telling people one thing, changing their mind later. So, like, if you're gonna do that, I'm not really gonna give you credit for you admitting you did something wrong when we told you at the time what you did was wrong, right? So, you know,
you sound like a disgruntled employee, sir.
I'm just saying, like I think there's something to what PlayStation's doing in terms of their messaging.
You see, you too are one who likes them tickling the nether regions and making you feel special.
What I'm saying is, I don't appreciate it half-assed messaging. If you want to be the good guy, then be the good guy and come out and say it. If you want to drip feed,
if you want to be a liar, then be a liar full force, and let us appreciate that.
Look, again, right? All I'm saying is, what is wrong with transparency? Why do we have to keep so much stuff in the dark? So my point is, if you told me the truth about one thing and then you lied about another thing, do I say, well, keep lying to me on the one side because you told me this one truth? I'm not going to give you credit for that.
So yeah, that's true. I see where you're coming from. I just think it's not necessarily the same, but continue.
What I would like is for the industry, because it makes no sense that why the video game industry is so weirdly opaque, right?
Yeah, they should all be transparent with their
Right.
slate. Look at movies. You know exactly when a movie's coming out, when it's coming out. They're working on it, and then when it comes out, you watch it. Why must it be like, bam, it showed up out of nowhere and it's almost complete?
In secret. Yeah. We gotta like I'm just saying, I'm all for admitting when you're wrong, but I would also like some more transparency in terms of what their strategy is, what they're trying to accomplish. Set a rubric out so your customers can understand what to expect from you. And the same goes for Sony. And if you're not going to do that, you might as well tickle the balls a little bit and do some, whatever.
Flight 116, new name. Appreciate you being here. $2 super chat. He says PlayStation tells us nothing all the time. This is my point, and they get credit for that, right? We believe in generations.
But
sure.
They're not pretending to be the nice guys. They're not pretending to fall on their sword.
But Microsoft is not pretending to fall. They're just telling you the mistakes they've made. What? That's pretending?
All right. Look.
Anyway, yeah.
One has a better perception in the minds of people, and the other one doesn't. So
I won't disagree with that. My only side note on the caveat
battle
to that
of
is
public opinion. Someone's doing better and someone's doing worse.
Of course.
Why do we think that is?
But see, public opinion can usually be skewed in any way. It's about how smart you are by cultivating. Okay. It doesn't negate the fact. Anyway,
my only point is they don't get any credit from me from admitting that they're wrong. So what that means is I've jumped off a cliff without a parachute. Just because I acknowledge that was a dumb idea doesn't mean I get a parachute on the way down.
Punty is questioning our use of the terms, man. I beg your pardon. Appreciate you, sir. Anyway, well, while we're talking about Concord, let's really talk about Concord. And a lot has already been said about Concord, and I think we've already put it out there. Do you really think they're going free to play, or they're going to retool it? I don't think so. What do you think?
No, absolutely not. This will never see the light of day. Again, they would have kept it going so they could collect telemetry and learn how to make it better. Like every other service game that didn't launch well, but ended up turning themselves around. Yeah. Look at the way Sea of Thieves launched. Look at the way...
Well, Sea of Thieves didn't launch bad. It just launched without content.
Well,
I would
wait a minute.
Hold on. For Honor.
Did Concord launch bad? A lot of people said the gameplay loop was fun. They didn't have content.
Sure.
And no one was interested. So you could have kept it going, added the content, stuck with it, but they don't want to invest in this failed idea anymore. And so why keep throwing money at a dead horse, right?
So Andrew Wilkins, he's throwing some slander in the chat. I appreciate your slander as long as you're. Hold on. Let me finish. I appreciate your slander as long as your slander is built in facts. So Concord is true. It's not an Azure servers, but Azure is not trash for xCloud. xCloud is trash because it runs consoles in the cloud. If they were running proper regular Blade servers, it wouldn't be the same, right? And the trash that you talk about, what do you call it? Helldivers 2 runs on Azure, and it runs great and it looks great. People are waiting for the next iteration. I appreciate your slander, but make sure your slander is in facts. We love facts. Continue.
Andrew Wilkins. All I want to know is, are you supporting the Kickstarter tomorrow? That's all I want to know.
Yes, you should. You should be. You should be. Please. Look. Bring the slander. I appreciate the slander. I enjoy it, especially when it's facts and no one can deny it. But to say that Azure servers are trash and because they're trash because of xCloud, no. xCloud are literally consoles in the cloud. They are not actually Blade servers, which are what the cloud infrastructure usually is. This is a new, interesting, different idea, and it has its pluses and its minuses. That's why it may not be running so righteous, right? But that can't be. You can't use one to stitch to the other, right? The game that is running, the PlayStation game that is running on Azure servers, which is Helldivers 2, runs perfectly. So there goes that idea. So okay, Spoonie Love with 1,000, I think that's yen. Thank you for being here, Spoonie Love. Appreciate you. He says, you can't demand Xbox tell you what they're doing and not demand it from all other companies. Industry as a whole has a problem. You can't excuse Sony because they have a history of better games. Sir, I don't disagree with you. Mr. Everborn Saga, do you have any rebuttal to that?
I'm not excusing Sony, but
you're saying that what they're doing is right, public perception and all that.
Right, but I there's no expectation for Sony to be this altruistic company, which is the way that the Xbox division portrays themselves to be, right? And they're literally letting you know we're here to compete.
And
right?
then he adds a 200 yen to it and says, Sony tells you nothing, yet no one complains.
Right, but Sony is not sending their executives on Kind of Funny to go pretend like they're one of us. Right? So what I'm saying is, once you embrace the community in a certain way, there's going to be certain expectations. And that is what I'm saying is sort of that is a marketing strategy in and of itself. And you see that they are not doing that anymore, right? So the idea that they're coming out, or in the past they came out and admitted their faults and fell on their sword and apologized to the player and said, we hear you. All of that was good when they needed the player. Now they have so many assets that they don't need you. And you see that they're not coming out here and admitting certain things like that.
They did. Like Phil Spencer's interview was during PAX. That was just recently. He's still on that couch. He's still Mia Coping. And they have COD. They've had COD now at this point. It's not to say they don't do that anymore. They're just not telling you what you specifically want to hear. They're still out there. They're still Mia Coping about all this.
What do you think it is?
I think you want to hear them go. I think you want to hear. I think you want to hear them go. Okay, Band-Aid ripped off. Every game is coming to PlayStation. 6 months or 3 months afterwards. These are the logistics of making sure that you know that everything's coming there. Don't even bother thinking about it anymore. Just assume they're all coming. I think that's what you want them to hear, rather than drip feeding the information. That's what you want to hear, right?
That's what that is exactly what I want them to hear. And I want them to fix their PC app. But but yes.
You're taking your specific issue and making it this big broad thing. But
all I'm saying is, if you're drip feeding information because you know if you say what the real plan is, people are gonna leave faster than you want them to, or you're afraid of what will happen, then you're not really being honest. That's what you call a lie of omission. So if you can do lies of omission, I can't give you credit for telling the truth that you made a mistake that we all thought was stupid anyway. That's all I'm saying.
And then Spoonie drops another 200 yen.
And by the way, let me be clear about this.
Yeah.
About what so people automatically assume that because I have I say I don't give Xbox credit for this, it means that I am giving Sony credit for whatever. It's not you're on one side or you're on the other side. I'm just saying this is how I feel about what Microsoft's messaging situation is. That doesn't mean, that doesn't make me a fan of the PlayStation or whatever. I'm just calling this how I see it. And I think we're so caught up in, if you have something negative to say about one side or something positive to say about another side, then the opposite must be true of their competitors. And that's not, that doesn't always have to be the case.
So Spoonie hits us with another 200 yen and says, so you're saying there are different standards?
I think
in other words, different standards for different companies. For the different
I think the two companies present themselves differently, and hence they have different expectations.
Understood. Lucius, the great Lucius Augustus, with a $5 super chat, he says, how does Phil going out there looking like a clown? Wow, bro, calm down. Looking like a clown that can't figure out what game looks good what a good game looks like, a good thing. How does it help me or anyone else? Damn. So he woke up this morning, had his Wheaties, and then put on his tie and went, I'm going to start some shit today. Understood. I get it. So you want them to be cutthroat, never admit their mistakes, hardcore. I get that.
No, it's
but
not
that's not who they are.
It's not about them not admitting their mistakes. At least not for me. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it doesn't move me that they're admitting certain mistakes,
mm-hmm.
right? And they're omitting telling us other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all I can do is judge by the information that they give us when they give us the information. That's it. I'm just not praising them because they. Anyway, I think we're on this too long. They have two different approaches to messaging.
Yeah, and I don't disagree.
Everybody in here, like anybody who disagrees with what I'm saying, that's fine. But everybody in here acknowledges that Microsoft has issues with their messaging. So if we try to adjudicate what those issues are,
mm-hmm.
we can't look at me like I got two heads, even though I don't have my camera on. So you can't look at me like I have two heads, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I feel you. So the last bit of information that I want to talk about, roughly around this, and then we'll get to that ally techie adjacent story, which you and I are both excited about, is I don't know if you saw this, and I think this is a sign of the times, and that's why I bring it up. The Like a Dragon developers say they will continue to focus on the middle-aged game, the middle-aged guy things, right? The games chilling out with older guys in a bar makes it feel unique and appealing, they claim. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I have said this on many a times now that we are no longer the target audience. And the hubris within us is that we still think that everyone is speaking to us and that we are the target for all of this stuff. So whenever these guys who used to speak to us come out with stuff and we're scratching our heads, we're like, come on, we don't like this. Why the hell would you do this? And I've been advocating that it's because they stopped speaking to you, right? And it's so much so that I think that now developers are getting questioned for making games that appeal to us like this. Right? It used to be, this was the reference design. They could make a game with cool guys doing stuff and no one would say anything. Now they keep doing that and they're being questioned. Like, really? Is this really where you want to go? Is this really what you think is great? And they have to come and defend themselves and say, hanging out with the. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Was that the tone of this article, or were they just explaining what their niche is?
No, they're explaining their niche. I just find it interesting that they are being questioned about and it's not to say that they're being asked to move off of it, right? It's not to say that, but it's just, I find it super interesting to me that the middle-aged guys at a bar thing is now a unique,
shout out to Meg,
a unique thing. Yeah. It's now a unique genre that must be adhered to. Because back in the day, that was just status quo, right? Every guy was that guy. Every protagonist, every game shot for that, hey, hanging out with the dude bros at a bar, hanging out. It was all good. Now it's unique and appealing, and people stick with it.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that.
Okay.
Because speaking specifically to the middle-aged man is different from speaking to the young teenager, even back when we were young teenagers, because the middle-aged man has different issues, right?
Yes.
The middle-aged man has trouble with his marriage. He has a bad back. He's tired all the time and he has to deal with bullshit, right? That is what the
arthritis.
Oh,
my hands. Yes. But I just find it interesting.
With a world that's changing around him. So talking to that specific demographic is a thing, and it is a niche. And I don't think it is them making the same game they made 20 years ago.
No. I don't think so either.
Engaging with the audience.
Exactly my point. Exactly.
But here's the thing. Here's the point, right? I think it is super important, or what's more interesting to me is knowing who your audience is and hyper focusing on them instead of rounding down the edges in something so much, so in the attempt of making it palatable to everyone, such that it's palatable to no one. Because it doesn't, it's like you stand for nothing, you fall for anything, right? So when we say, okay, we're not trying to get everybody, we know exactly who we are, we know who our fans are, we know who our target audience is, we know who we're talking to, and we're going to make something for them. I think that is again a recipe for greatness. And listen, every time you've seen this happen, it's worked out very well. Look at what Baldur's Gate did, right? They didn't try to file down the edges. They made a hard CRPG, and people love that they did that. Look what Elden Ring did. Look at what Astrobot is doing now, making a serious, competent platform, right? When you focus on a specific target audience instead of doing this sort of wide berth, we want to catch as many people as possible, sort of that good enough energy like they're talking about in the chat, right? Mm-hmm. You can make a good game, but it'd be very difficult to make a great game. You want to make something great, you have to hyper focus on a specific target audience, in my opinion. So I think this is good. I think they're saying the right thing.
No, I do too. I just find it. I have a feeling
that was Capono that said that. By the way, he says he can't stand good enough mentality.
Good enough energy.
Yeah.
I just find it more and more that I suspect we're going to start seeing these specific genres not being questioned, but being used as, hey, these guys are growing with the audience, whereas everyone else is focused on what you're saying there.
If we can appreciate that we are no longer the target audience for some things, then other people can appreciate that this might not be for them.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And that is not to be disagreed on. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. But okay, let's get to the fun topic. You and I were pretty excited to see this thing come about. And I want to talk about it real quick. I will say, in the world that we live in, and shout out to all the great folks that are still in here, the 273 people between the tubes and the x.coms, where we got a lot of folks watching. We appreciate y'all. And that, on this channel, we'll talk tech talk. We're about the games here, right? Everborn is now speaking more, playing more and more, and using the PC / the handheld to be that 1-2 punch that he likes to play. I do similarly with my PC and my handheld, and I sometimes also still game on my Xbox with my kids. So it's wherever games are played, right? So we have been talking about this stuff for a little bit. Ooh, and Everborn Saga has just left us. I think his camera. Ooh, and he's back. You all right, sir?
Yeah, I plugged the camera back.
Your mic is a little bit choppy. I'm not sure if it defaulted to something else. You may want to check. But needless to say,
no, it should be good. How do I sound?
You're good. You're good now. You were good. You were a little bit choppy before, but you're good. Absolutely good now. Yeah. So what I want to talk about real quick is the excitement around the potential drop that they're moving to a different. That AMD is now talking about the Z2 Extreme chip. Right. And real quick, for those who don't understand, Z1 Extreme, which is what is in the ROG Ally, which back? Is what, yeah, you are back. We see you. We see
back.
You. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah. we'll get you a proper charging mechanic soon enough. Don't worry about it. So
I'm going to see if I can get one at Micro Center today.
Yeah. I'll show you what you're looking for. The handhelds that we're talking about here are the Ally and the Legion Go, right? And they had the Z1 Extreme chip, right? And what was the Z1 Extreme chip? The Z1 Extreme chip was a variant of the 7840U. The 7840U is a laptop chip, right? And why does that matter? Laptop chips need far more power to get them going, right? So you're talking about upwards of 20, 30, 40 TDP to get them really working the way they should. So if you put that in a handheld, you're asking for terrible battery life, right? So they created the Z1 Extreme chip. The Z1 Extreme, unfortunately, though, in my humble opinion, did not really offer handheld capable features. They kind of just called it something else. They removed certain features and then they sold it, right? But at that time, I would argue that the handheld market didn't have such a mainstream appeal, right? There was bespoke makers left and right, and they were also using those handhelds. They were using those chips. But now we have the Steam Deck among us. We have the ROG Ally among us, the Legion Go. MSI Claw is now trying to claw their way back into the zeitgeist. There are a lot more in there. Ooh, you're on mute. What were you saying?
I see there, the MSI
Yeah,
Claw
you know what it is. You know what it is. So now ASUS says we're making the Z2 chip. Now, based on the speculation that they've talked about, and of course, the minute, like Beetlejuice, the minute you say AMD's name, the great Floodzilla enters the fray with a $2 super chat. He says, AMD FA life, son. Sure. We'll see how they do with ray tracing. All right, let's move on. This is what I do to him all the time. Get your ray tracing game up and we'll talk.
At least he didn't bring up Linux.
At least he didn't. Yeah, at least he did. But okay, so what excites me about this is, right, they took the Z1 chip, which wasn't meant for handhelds at all, and then they kind of handheldified it. And I use air quotes because they didn't really do much to it. They were just kind of testing the waters there. And shout out to, I will give sole credit to ROG on this one, because they really pushed it. And they pushed it, and they released the new design and the new X, and then they tweaked that processor even just a little bit, and now they're getting far more benefits from it. They have put it in the zeitgeist of the mainstream more than any of the bespoke handheld makers have ever been able to do, and because of that, AMD now maybe is taking handheld chips seriously, right? They say that the Z2 chip will boost battery life by over 300%. That tells me they're most likely talking about the Strix Point chip, which the reason why we know all this is because when AMD
says that he was told that the Z2 Extreme will be based on Strix Point.
There you go. Right. The reason why we know all this is because whenever AMD and all these other chip makers come out, they give you their roadmap for years to come. Well, we're going to hit this benchmark. Then we're going to hit that benchmark. They tell you what's going to come.
You see what transparency looks like?
I knew he was going to do that one too.
God forbid.
You know, so they've already told us potentially what the benchmarks they're going to hit. So we know roughly what to expect. And since the Z2 chip most likely falls in line here, it does look like they're going to take the Strix Point chip, which Strix Point, all these chips are meant for laptops, right? But optimizations, and then them creating a variant, Z2 now, specifically for the handheld, tells me now they're seeing a serious business here. And actually, that Z2 might be really exciting, right? Some of us that have been paying attention to those AMD roadmaps have seen that not only Strix Point, but Hawk Point and Hawk Point Halo look like they're going to be where I will be jumping up and down for excitement, because Strix Point will use most likely the same graphics processor that you have in your Ally, chances are, which is the 780M, if not a newer revision, but it won't be like a huge monster of a hit, right? And they'll just rely on a lot of the optimizations that the Strix Point chip is offering, which will be great. But it looks like Hawk Point is where they'll really do something, and Hawk Point Halo, and Halo will be that part of it will be a new graphics processor in addition to the optimizations for the CPU. You know, not to be outdone, and I see what you're saying there, Lucius. The 880M, yes, it is good. I'm not saying it's not, but I want there to be a world where when you hit the benchmark, you hit it hard. When just like I can go to a store, right, and on the PC, on the desktop side, I can buy a graphics processor that blows away all others. I can set a benchmark for my graphic output that can be that is like the reference design for a good amount of time, right? And up until now, they've been very middling in their graphics processing, right? They've relied very much on, since it's an SoC and it's all together, they haven't really put their foot down when it came to graphics performance, right? The 780M has shot its shot way above what it should, right? It's done great work, and I'm sure the 880M will do similar. I want them to really go for that benchmark, and it looks like the Hawkpoint Halo may be where we're looking at it. Now, Everborn Saga, I saw you mute yourself. I don't know if you're still here or if you're busy real quick, but I'm excited for the speeds I'm excited for the speeds and feeds of it. What excites you here about all of this?
Now, so I hear 300% better battery, but the question that I have with that is, okay, is that the same performance with 300% better battery? Because I don't know if I need 300% better battery efficiency.
There you go. Now you're asking the right questions. Yes, they're taking. So the idea was, see the games that you play at 25 TDP. Now you can play them at 7 or 10, right? So same performance, but so much less resource overhead in order to get there.
Which is fine, but I still need gains in terms of running some of the more demanding games, because
this is why I'm like, I want that Hawkpoint Halo, because there they actually shoot bigger shots. There they put their foot down in a bigger way. They give you more resources rather than optimizing existing resources.
Yeah, that is. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. Here's my thing. If I can play a AAA game for 3 hours straight on a handheld, that's a W, right? I think if you can get 3 hours on something like a Black Myth Wukong or the WarHammer, whatever, if you can play those kind of games for up to 3 hours, then we're in the right place. I don't think you need like 5 hours of battery life to play a AAA game. So I really want to see some performance improvements, not just efficiency. But again,
I don't disagree.
This is definitely welcome.
I don't disagree. Absolutely, I don't disagree. And I do think that doing more with what you have is also a good thing. Like I think that's awesome. Like I commend those who take the reference design, who take the benchmark and go, you know what, we're going to do more with this, right? And why I think that's great is because when you do more with your existing, then when you're moving forward, you get nothing but better returns, right? And that's why I actually give ASUS a lot of credit in that regard, because they didn't just keep the Z1 as it was. They not only increased battery performance, but then they also increased optimization. So moving forward, you got a big honking battery, which is great, but you also have optimizations that could use that, even if your battery wasn't big, right? Even if your battery was still at your 70 or 60 or whatever, the optimizations would have pushed you forward anyway. And I think that's commendable on both sides of the house. So there's that. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because I like when people shoot their shot with interesting things. I wanted to share a feature that, and I've been working on this review for a minute. I'm hoping that maybe this weekend I'll be done with it. But this is for my A1 1X Player Mini. I wanted to share a feature that they literally released, and I guess that's a plus that I didn't finish my review until this now, because otherwise I would have totally missed this, because they just released this. They now have the ability to bypass your battery. So whenever you charge, right, you're killing battery. That's what happens when you're using lithium-ion batteries. You plug them in, they're charging. Eventually, you're losing the battery's optimizations, right? You're losing the battery's efficiency. So at some point, the battery just stops holding a charge, right? And that's just the way it is. Not only, there's a feature in Windows that it's called Smart Charge, right? Which then hits a certain threshold, like 80% or whatever. You can decide what threshold you want to hit it. But when it hits it, then it stops letting the battery be charged. And you can keep it plugged in indefinitely. It'll just never move forward. It'll always be there. And that is so that the battery lasts longer. They added that feature in Windows. They optimized and modernized Windows to allow that, which is one of the criticisms I've had for AMD. It seems like they don't touch Windows enough. right? And these guys did that, which I think is cool. And not only did they do that, but this is a feature that really excites me. For those who plug their thing in all the time because they want the most TDP, there's a button that you can press that bypasses the battery altogether. So the battery's in there, can be used when you're on your go, but when you enable this thing, all it does is draw power from the wall, doesn't go through your battery, so your battery just never feels any degradation. It's like the battery doesn't exist in the device at all. It's just using it off the power, off the wall. And they did this also because there are some people who maybe want to plug it into your TV, for example, right? And it can literally just be off the wall rather than going through your battery and churning through your battery. Because as you know, battery have cycles, and at some point when you hit a certain threshold, those cycles wind down, and now you can't use the battery anymore. This feature keeps the battery lasting for a long time. And I think every single other device maker should be, specifically in the handheld space, should be following this model. They should be turning on smart charge, and they should be allowing users to be like, well, I'm going to be home for the next 8 to 10 hours. I'm not going to need my battery. Turn that thing off. You're not even messing with the battery, right? I think that's an awesome.
Can that
awesome
be
feature.
handled automatically? So it's just you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can set it up in the settings, and then because you've set it up, now every time you plug it in, okay, I detect the wall outlets in there. Battery turns off, and all you're dealing is with the wall outlet. Freaking awesome. Great feature. Awesome feature. So like as you guys know from me and me talking about these things, I think each of them are necessary in this space because they all push each other, right? Like I've thrown flowers at the ROG Ally and saying their 80 watt-hour battery is good, because now we hear MSI coming out with a handheld that will also have an 80 watt-hour battery. ROG set the standard, and now these guys are also adhering to it. These guys, 1X Player, set up really good standards in software. Like they do stuff that I haven't seen these guys, the Radio Hits, been doing at all. And it's brilliant that they do this, because now I'm hoping that more people expect that these standard features become available in like your Armory Crate and those other pieces of software that make it, because some of these things are really, really ingenious features, right? This is the only handheld I've ever used that gets game trainers right from jump. So if you're one of those people that use game trainers, right, and you know who you are, if you like game trainers, you like modifying the code and making games that I don't want my weapons to run out of bullets or some whatever you want to do. This thing does not require you go hunt it down on the internet. It literally looks at the game you're playing and then downloads the trainers, and you can in its own hub, you can just turn them on right off the bat. Stuff like that. Really interesting, out of nowhere features that they offer that moves the ball forward. So I'm excited for this. I hope, they say it's releasing in 2025. I hope it doesn't cost like $1,000 for the Radio Hits ones. You know what I mean? I hope they stay at that $600-$700 range. How much is too much for you, sir? If when this comes out in 2025?
Well, I would have to ask what. Okay. I got it. This is 2025.
Yeah.
The Steam Deck 2 is probably out by then.
I don't expect the Steam Deck 2 to be out by then. I think these guys will start putting their foot down before the Steam Deck 2 comes out. But continue. Okay, it will be in 2025, though. I do agree that Steam Deck will come out in 2025, but I don't think the Steam Deck comes out and is out and then this shows up. I think the roadmap is already clear on this one. They will most likely be out before the Steam Deck 2.
So here's the thing. I'm specifically thinking the ROG Ally 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so if they release this summer with the X, I don't think we would get a ROG Ally 2 by the end of until at least the end of the year.
You think so? Because remember, these guys don't make money with you owning it. They make money with you buying one.
No, I
don't have a platform.
I get it, but they're also gonna want to see what Valve does to try to at least one up that, because if they don't take into account whatever the Steam Deck 2 is doing, then this thing won't do well. So if they see, well, okay, these are the specs that Valve is hitting, let's just do better than that, and then we can have that power crown, and then people will, want to go our way. So, but to answer your question, if they're going to come correct the way I think they came correct with the Ally X. Well, here's a better question. Do they release an Ally 2, and then the one you really want is going to be the X2?
Oh, you're damn right. You're damn, and you know they're going to release an Ally 2. They're going to release an Ally 2X, right? And I suspect in between the 2 and the 2X is where you'll see Steam Deck. Steam Deck 2 comes out, they learn from it, 2X.
But to that end, then I have to ask, should the 2 come in at more than the regular Ally came in at? So does that put us at a 6? What is it, 649 or 6? Is it 699? It was
699, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 699. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think we paid 620 because we bought it from Best Buy, but it was 699.
It was 699
for the Extreme, for the Z1 Extreme. So we're talking about an Ally that's a Z2 Extreme. Are they going to make meaningful upgrades? If it is the quality of the Ally X, meaning you got the big battery as well as the extra efficiency of the Z2, and if it can perform better, we'll see if they'll do an OLED screen, because then you'd have to give up VRR. Unless it was a VRR with an OLED screen, then I'd say
hasn't really happened yet, but it could. Yeah.
Right. So if you're doing that plus a big battery, and
you're willing to pay the $1,000
economics. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think
Purchase Saga just showed up.
No. I think $799 is my ceiling if it is a premium product.
I can.
But
see
if it's
that.
a mass market product, then $599, or sorry, $699 is the highest I go.
I agree. I will say, and we'll put it to bed in this way. I will say I'm excited by, and I facetiously call them the premium hits, the radio hits, but I'm excited that those radio hits, quote unquote, exist, because in doing so, now it's making those chip makers and all those shoot bigger shots, because now there's a market for it, right? Now there's an actual reason to want to make a chip that is actually performant, made for handhelds, rather than just calling it Extreme when we all know it wasn't Extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it could potentially be its namesake. So I appreciate that. It's real cool. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the end of our show this week.
All right. Well,
before we go though, we said we bookend the show with, at the beginning, we were talking about Mr. Everborn Saga and the Kickstarter campaign. I will once again put the Kickstarter campaign information in the chat. You are seeing it now in your chat. But we will also take a moment and show some footage. You have footage for us, sir. Why don't you set it up?
Well, I have something now. So first of all, I see Andrew Wilkins again. Andrew Wilkins, I want to see you there on day one supporting the campaign.
Yes, sir.
But we also put together for the campaign a bunch of add-ons. Right.
Okay.
So you can get the books, which is the main thing you're there for. But if you want to kind of take your support to the next level, we have made a bunch of new apparel items that are, and we're working with Adidas, we're working with Fruit of the Loom, we're working with Hanes, we're working with American Apparel, and that's some of the clothes that you saw me wearing earlier. But I want you guys to check out this. This is a new hoodie that we're launching
with audio.
With audio.
Okay, let's check it out.
All right. I hope we get.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
Here is one. Now it comes in a bunch of colors. You saw the dark gray. This is right here. Made.
I have the T-shirt.
By
Adidas. Nice. Right? It's really nice. I like it. Yeah.
So this you can only get this on the campaign. So we got this
into frame, sir. Move yourself into frame. There you go.
Yeah. So we got this. We got a bunch of other shirts. We got another shirt with a new design. It's basically like inspired by we made this design when Kintaro Mara passed away. The guy, the creator of Berserk, because he was like the inspiration for some of the Prince of Arcadia stuff. And so we made a special Everborn logo with in the Berserk style. So that is also done by Adidas, and we got some other ones. But yeah, all that will be available in the campaign. So I want you guys to not just check out what tier you're going to support, but also the add-ons. Now, what I want to do is come back
real quick.
Can you go
real quick? Spoony Love, 200 yen. He says he's still willing to send you that Saturn, Mr. Everborn Saga.
I'm here for it, sir. That would be great.
Reach out to the man in the DMs, man. That's
all right,
awesome.
so let me now come back to the campaign.
Yeah.
And
want me to share it? Oh, there you go. You can share it.
All right. I'm getting the hang of this thing.
There
so
we
looked That's at some of the pages earlier. What I want to show you now is, and these are some of the other books that we released, which all will be available in the campaign. This is the Prince of Arcadia series. If you're familiar with that, that's more of our Game of Thrones style series. The Redlands is kind of like a heist genre, where you're following this character named Karma. She's a princess by day, bandit by night, and she's secretly working to bring down the king, who happens to be her stepfather. So that's another one. And here are some of the rewards. We did these custom graphics. So you can get the Stoic reward, which will just get you Ariel's Adventure 1 and 2. You go for the Cassandra, you will get all of the books we did. These are digital. And now we start to get the physical rewards, which they're all come signed. So here is the main one. This is the Promise. This is the Adventurer. If you just want to be in Ariel's Adventure, again, signed. We've got the Loyalty Pledge, which if you backed all our other campaigns, these are the new prints and new items that we're doing for this book. I actually want to show you guys something. Hang on.
Uh-oh. He's doing the striptease of the show. Oh, man. No.
So
there you go.
That shirt you see there,
yeah,
and the Loyalty Pledge is this one here.
Oh, nice. See, and I have to say, again, I don't like
this
those
one
shirts
is made
that
by
only
hand.
have the square. These guys, these are really well thought out prints. You're doing a good job with that. That's real good. I like that.
So now, this is the other tier. This is these two are the big ones. So we have the Everborn tier and the Immortal tier, and these are limited. I think we only have 5 and 3 slots of each of these, because we will make you a character in a future Everborn book when you support these campaigns. If you support the Immortal tier, you're going to get your own cover. So you guys might know Gamer MD. He chose that tier in the Redlands campaign, and now he got his own 1-of-1 cover, and his character is going to be an upcoming villain in the Redlands series. And this is a guy named D Mac. He supported the campaign, but they're like the main villains of this chapter, right? This is a supporter of the first campaign. So you can see him here. So we really try to do him justice with the character designs, make him look cool. It's not just a walk-on role. So check this tier out if you can, because we will immortalize you in the books. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight those pieces and let you guys know that these tiers are limited, right? Because we can't just make 50 characters. Somebody's asking for the link in the chat. Can we get that in the chat?
Put the link. I just put the link in the chat right once again.
This is going live tomorrow.
Shout out to the legendary Yobi.
Now, can I get a full screen on this thing? How do we do that? How do we make this?
We do it like that.
All right. So Ariel's Adventure specifically is about these two characters here. That's Riley and obviously Ariel, right? They're best friends. This character, Riley, was actually made after my dog Riley that passed away, and that's how I wanted to immortalize him and put him into this story. But it's about their friendship. He is the next in line to run the wolf colony, but he has a younger brother who happens to be bigger than him. And Riley really never takes anything seriously because he's goofing around with Ariel all day. And his brother resents the fact that he's going to run the wolf colony and not him. So there's that tension there. And then there's Ariel, who's kind of been raised in hiding and training his whole life. And so he's kind of been training for a threat he's never seen. And chapter 2 is where it all hits the fan. And we know what he was training for and why he's been in hiding here. But I mentioned Peter Moore earlier and what he did when he believed in something, right? Can we get the camera on me?
Oh, here he go. Oh boy. Is this what I think this is gonna happen? All right, here we go. All right,
I need a full screen for this, I think.
He needs a full screen. Okay, here we go. There it is.
Because I want to give you guys that Sega energy, that Peter Moore energy, that we believe in what we're doing.
Oh, he put out the no, the other side. There you go. We see it. Yes. He got the tattoo. Yes. I expected that. There it is. Yeah. He's strip teasing on the show, ladies and gentlemen. He's strip teasing on the show.
So this is what I mean.
We want to see the tramp stamp on the back. No,
no. That'll be for the next campaign. We'll get the tramp stamp. But yeah, this is how much we believe in this campaign. This is like this is 3 years in the making, and I promise you is worth all of that. And it is only the beginning. And like I said, this is not about help me finish the book. The book is done. I'm sending the files to the printer tomorrow, right? This is about taking this is about taking Everborn to the next level. Like, I see it as an anime. I see it as a Hollywood thing. I see toys in the store, and this is how we get there, and this is the beginning of it. So we're gonna launch this campaign. We're gonna go big on the main floor in New York Comic Con in October, booth 2039. So if you're in the tri-state area, come see me, and if you back this campaign, you can pick up your book right there. And then we're gonna bring back to the mobile game and just port it over using Mono Game. And then we're gonna focus on the bigger games. And we got new chapters and we got the novel coming. So now is the time when we were sort of waiting for the stars to align, but working hard this whole time. And now it's time to show out. So I really want you guys to show out with me, because again, you guys are the guys that drive this thing. So I just wanted to bring that back up and say, check this out. We have a bunch of add-ons. We got a bunch of, I think, well-designed tiers to get people involved. And I want to see if we can go for the three-peat, fund it in the first 24 hours, and pick this projects we love. So again, thank you. You guys come here every week and you support us. I'm just asking if we could do the same with this campaign. And we're going to launch tomorrow on the Iron Lord. So come to the Iron Lord show tomorrow, and show some love, and let the Iron Lords know that that I'm a worthwhile guest, hopefully.
And Andrew Wilkins with a $5 super chat. He says,
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll
donate to it. Once you admit you prefer PS5 over Xbox, your comic characters look like Final Fantasy.
Okay, first of all,
made Final Fantasy popular. Hashtag PS fan notices everything.
I'm gonna correct you, sir, because you are strong and wrong. It was Nintendo that popularized Final Fantasy.
There you go. Okay.
If you're thinking about Cloud's Buster Sword, that is from Berserk.
Yes.
Right? So Final Fantasy and Cloud copied Kentaro Mara's Berserk, and that's where the big sword comes from. And I know this because I'm a longtime Berserk fan.
Oh, here he go. He's gonna pull out the receipts on you. Watch him pull out the receipts on you real quick.
Here is one of the other items made by Adidas that you can get from the campaign, inspired by the Berserk. So there's Berserk inspiration here, not Final Fantasy and Sony. But
all right, then.
I will expect your support tomorrow, Mr. Andrew Wilkins. I was ready for that question.
He was ready. He was primed and ready. All right. But okay, while we get out of here, Everborn, why don't you tell the people where they can find you tomorrow?
You can
You're going to be
find
on
me
Iron Lord,
on
yeah?
Kickstarter. That's where you can find me. Just go to Kickstarter, type in Everborn. My stuff will come up.
Yeah.
But you can also find me on the Iron Lords tomorrow. You can go to everbornsaga.com, which again, we are launching the new site. We're doing a 2.0. You know what? You guys want to see what the site is going to look like? I showed it last week, but I want to show it again because we made some improvements since then. All right. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you when I'm ready. Do your outro while I get this, because we can go out.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Absolutely not. So you can find me, of course, on this fair channel. I'm putting the final touches on my review of the old X1 Mini. Lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to finally getting this thing out. It's been out for a little while. I've wanted to put my word on it. So you'll find that for me as well. Myself and a few community members will be playing. We'll be playing a co-op version of Space Marine 2. Maybe we'll put it out on the. You know what? No, we're not gonna put it out. We're gonna broadcast it via Discord if we can. So if you have a chance to, you're part of our Discord community. Come check us out. Probably in the evening time on a Sunday evening. Myself, Mr. John Wolf, a few other folks. What will we be doing? We will be playing co-op Space Marine 2. Come check us out. Come talk with us. Come be a part of that community. You'll find us there. And then, of course, myself and Mr. John Wolf on Monday night, we always host the Gamers Playground. We'll probably be talking a lot more about the chipsets that we're doing here. I know John always has some things he wants to bring up as well. So we'll have some fun there as well. I see you, Mr. Everborn Saga. What you got for us?
All right, so this is the new site. This is what it looks like. This is not live yet, so you're looking at the preview site in the dashboard. But we really try to put a focus on the different series that we're creating. So you can see Ariel's Adventure here. We got this sort of sideshow thing going on. It's very responsive, and we have a whole bunch of new products. A lot of it is designed not just throwing a poster on a t-shirt. This is really trying to design sort of fashion forward things that you would wear on a regular day, not just at a comic convention, and really focusing what we're doing with the books. So you can see here, we really try to focus the content in a
I like the template
way.
you used. It's really nice. Yeah.
And you can see some of this stuff. You see like this Karma shirt. You see the Adidas. And so this is what the new site is like, and it's designed to try to get like really turn the site into a business where this is the #1 place. Because again, this is the only place you can get this stuff, right? This is not available on Amazon. It's not available in stores yet. So this is the exclusive place to get this, and we got a lot of stuff. We got like bags, we got wall art. So the framed art you see behind me, you can get here. But yeah, it's we got jewelry. This is also going to be available in the campaign. So we're going to launch it in the campaign, and then afterwards you can buy it from the store. So yeah, a lot of stuff planned. This has been a long time coming, but we've been working this whole time. So I really hope you guys enjoy what we're doing. And yeah, here's some of the other stuff. Phone cases. You can get a phone case. So you can see some of this stuff here.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. See, now you want to interest me in a phone case. How about you get a phone case for an actual phone instead of the damn iPhones, right? I mean, you get a proper phone case. Maybe you get me on that, but that's neither here nor there. Let's keep it moving.
It's more iPhones in North America than Androids, but sure.
Yeah, but North America isn't the world. Let's keep it moving. Anyway. But all right. With that, I think we're at the end of it this week. Looking forward to seeing your appearance on the ILP. Yeah. Show us the phone for the rotten apples. Yeah.
So this will also be available. You can get it through the campaign, but afterwards you'll be able to get it from the store. So that is what this thing is about. we're kickstarting the Everborn IP into the stratosphere, and it all starts with this campaign, from the website to Comic-Con to the next convention. We want to try to get into, we're going to get into Anime NYC next year, but we're also aiming to get into San Diego Comic-Con. So I've already put in some phone calls and feelers to see if we can get over there as well. We will, Umbra, we're going to try to go to C2E2. I know you know what that is. That's the Chicago convention. And then what's the one in Miami or Tampa?
There's one in Tampa. Hold on.
WonderCon,
Fantasy, right? WonderCon. There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
WonderCon. Yep.
Yeah. So we're trying to get into to all these things. So we're literally going to do a tour around the country with the brand and really try to get the word out. So if you guys could share this out, like, that's how the people see it, and then we get the right eyeballs on it, and before you know, Everborn's getting Hollywood.
There you go. And we'll be like, hey, we knew him when, and then he'll say, your services are no longer needed.
See, I'm not Xbox. I won't do that to you. I
knew he was gonna do that. Anyway.
But like Xbox, I'm trying to put Everborn everywhere.
You see, he's shaving the corners. Anyway, great episode, great conversation. I appreciate you, brother. Always with the good takes on things. And of course, we've been doing this, but as it is, life needs to happen. It's a little shorter of a show. Usually we're running 4 hours or such. This time we're keeping it a little bit more concise. But yeah, come check us out. Keep an eye on the channel. Join the Discord. I expect that you'll see us sharing the Space Marine footage when we're playing it on the Discord, probably tomorrow. So come check us out there. We tend to have an untelevised Gaming Circle podcast episode every time we're on the Discord. So come check us out and come talk some madness with us. But until then, it's been fun. Have a good week. See y'all on Monday night for the Gamers Playground. Peace.
And check the campaign.
Say it one more time.
Last reminder, do not forget Kickstarter tomorrow. We want to fund this thing in the first 24 hours, and you will not get charged until 30 days from tomorrow, because that's the end of the campaign. So please show your love, show your support. Let Kickstarter and the world know that we're making some quality stuff here.
What he said.
Thanks for being on it.